Welcome to Modern Mythology, a podcast that explores the many intersections of story and system. For more information about this episode, articles, or links to our other related projects, visit modernmythology.net.
Just a real quick session zero. Well, we don't always start off with this, and I know we know each other pretty well, but just to sort of model good behavior. Just want to start off with, is there any aspect of the campaign that are no-goes for you? Is there anything that you would not want to incorporate in terms of themes?
My character's not allowed to die. Oh well, I tried.
I mean, for me, usually I just say I don't appreciate sexually explicit content. Mm-hmm. You know, not that the three of us would go there necessarily, but you know, certainly innuendo, and you can make assumptions.
You should do fade to black for that sort of thing.
Fade to black, what happens behind the scenes, yeah. But and not really that I'm offended by it. It's just not.
Yeah, it's just like role play with your friends. Like
I don't like the games. Yeah, we're gonna get a little bit of detail into your characters. There'll be an opportunity for us to describe the characters, and you'll get into their names and things like that. But I need to start off with some features or really some background on your characters. The first one is actually a role for you to describe a particular feature on your characters. So,
okay.
Jamie, I'll start with your character. You got a 2. So describe a distinctive symbol or piece of clothing on your character.
Maybe he's got like a tattoo in some really prominent place, like under his cheek or something, like that he doesn't know how he got it.
Certainly maybe that he doesn't know where he got it. What's a tattoo of?
Like some sort of like a kind of demonic looking glyph.
And really, does he know what the glyph? Maybe
he's trying to figure out what it means.
What the glyph represents.
Yeah.
Yeah. You said under the chin?
Like his cheek.
Under cheek. Okay, yeah. I wrote cheek and I was thinking chin. Okay, got it. All right, Scott, your character. I like rolling. And rolled a 1. So what is a notable scar or birthmark on your character?
Well, the big piece is that he's stitched together. So he has a number of lines that curve through all of his features, and even to some degree, maybe slightly different shades of skin and very prominent stitching scarring. You know, so it looks like very rudimentary stitching put him together.
So extensive scarring,
yes,
essentially, yeah. and stitched together. Okay, appropriate for an unborn, certainly. Great. So just wanted to start that out, and then maybe some rhetorical questions, just in terms of fleshing out your characters one way or another.
Sure.
What was the greatest decision or turning point in your character's life?
So I'm just riffing here. I have no background for my character, just seen it, but since my character has a wisdom of 3, I'm going to say, and I'm a sorcerer, so it's like inborn ability, that I was kind of experimenting with other gnomes, kind of like an alchemical lab sort of situation. Although maybe it was even like more rudimentary than that. Like we were still like learning like the basics or whatever. And I blew the place up. I like killed the other gnomes and got exiled. And that's why I'm not part of them anymore, because and that was probably like the worst example, but definitely not the first time I've just kind of charged in and did something like where it's like, oh, this is cool. What happens if I do this? And then
accidentally killing your brother.
Right.
That's notable. Something your character wishes they could change about themselves.
I'm not going to say that. I mean, that would be the obvious thing, that their impulsiveness, but I don't think that would be it. Their height. They want to be taller.
Oh, all right. So we'll take it that your character.
That's what bothers him.
He's short, yes.
Yeah, he's numb, yeah.
And the last one we covered is signature, possession, or physical trait. So your physical trait would be that tattoo.
Yeah, well, that, and also probably my hair's burned off.
It stayed that way?
Yeah, I think some of it did. Yeah,
I think or it happens often.
Yeah,
I can relate. All right, Scott. So, what was your character's greatest decision or turning point in your character's life?
So, in their rebirth, they were significantly tormented by their past life. They were a rogue, they were a criminal, and so they had that process, like, translated during the coming back to life, translated into immense amount of, like, all the pain that he put on others was pain put on him. And so his biggest change was becoming a monk, and he's on this, like, redemption path. He's trying to, like, make up for all of that pain.
Great. Definitely redemption arc in that sense, but potentially having a whole nother life where they were maybe not as a good person as they...
Which they remember nothing of, only the pain.
Yeah. The pain that they cause people.
Yep.
Okay.
It's the only thing he remembers.
And what is something that your character wishes they could change about themselves?
I'm not going to say wish he wasn't that. He is definitely not happy with his visage. He feels like a monster, and because he's trying to not be a monster, the fact that he's outwardly looks like a monster.
People that he comes across, like, okay, that's good. All right, either make note of that, but keep track of that aspect of your character. And as we get started, in fact, your characters are asleep and essentially dreaming about these things. So, these issues are sort of,
so I'm screwed.
Occurring in your mind. Yeah, very well could be waking up from a nightmare.
This time I'm going to figure out how to make the explosion bigger.
Yes.
But possibly warn them first.
I'm looking forward to me walking out of your fireball.
Yeah, and I'll be dead. Yeah.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves, but maybe. All right, let's begin. As you were asleep and dreaming, you awaken on a metal examination table in a dim, windowless stone chamber. The air is cold and stale, tinged with the acrid sting of formaldehyde emanating from a nearby shelf of clouded flasks and antiseptic jars. Dry blood stains the drab mosaic floor and the edges of your table, and pain moans haunt the halls beyond the stuffy room. You're actually covered in a white stained sheet, lying on the slab, naked.
It's both of us?
Both of you. Yeah.
I grumble, not again.
Who the hell are you?
You two are the only, you guys, as you sort of remove the sheet, you guys are the only stirring bodies out of several other bodies that are lying lifeless, covered in sheets, also in the room.
I guess we could have been less lucky.
Do we remember our names?
You do not. As a matter of fact, you're very upset at this point, going, where am I?
I say, well, it's obvious. Everyone knows who... Oh. I don't know who I am either.
If you'd like to try and recall your name, roll an intelligence check.
All right, why not? It's just a check, you said?
Yep.
So 13.
You recall your name.
Radagard the Unready.
And you're wondering, why was I called the Unready?
This has happened to me many times before, and each time I am renamed.
And so now you're still unsure. Nearby, a human skull floats. It bobs impatiently, watching you with slate gray eyes. It's actually, big lidless sockets with just eyeballs stuck in them. But other than that, just a floating skull.
Oh, this is based on Torment. Yeah.
The skull notices you're awake and greets you with a nasal voice. Hey, Chief. Hey, most of you don't move all that often.
Is he the chief, or am I the chief?
You're the chief, and he's the chief, too. You're both the chiefs.
Oh. Well, where are we? And what are you?
I guess you don't know nothing, do you, huh?
That's too much.
Not too unlike the others, but you're in the city of Sigil. It is a wonderful city. It's an interplanar hub, center of the outer planes.
I imagine...
You should appreciate the fact that you're here.
Probably looks better when you're not inside a room full of dead bodies, but...
Yeah, if you ever see the light of day again, you're in for a real treat.
Huh.
Something to see. My name's Morte. I am, well, actually, you might not believe it or not, but I'm the skull of the Archlich Vecna. Had you go in there for a second, didn't you? Well, I guess you'll never know.
No, I won't.
Are they important?
Liches are usually pretty important. I don't know who Vecna is.
I sit up,
That's like you.
slide my legs off, and grab the middle of the sheet and, like, pull it away.
Ah, oh, whoa. Whoa, cover up, man. That's sorry.
And then, like, you know, hop off the gurney and like stretch and crack, you know.
Supposing I'm naked, I'll actually tie the sheet around my waist.
Give yourself a little bit of a skirt that drags.
Tell me, Skull, is this all we have to our names?
Well, there might be some of your stuff around here somewhere. Let me tell you, it was kind of hard to get all your clothes off with my teeth. And he kind of eyeballs over at a shelf nearby. You see a number of vials and flasks, a polished scalpel, but you also see underneath the shelf, lying in just a heap, all of what may appear to be your clothes, belonging, equipment.
Our few belongings. I'll gather up what seems to be my stuff, although it's not a whole lot.
I suspect that yours... Are there a lot of smaller people here?
Yours,
Halflings, gnomes, things like that? Or is our friend here the only...
I eyeball some of the other bodies. There's 8 or 9 other bodies that are shrouded in here. All different shapes and sizes. Although you're probably the largest. You're hanging off the table.
Is he the smallest?
Yeah, he would be among the smallest.
I think this is yours.
Yeah,
And
very like brightly colored and like has like lots of kind of random things thrown into it.
I find the things that are little more than sturdy rags stitched together. Anything with like a death motif is probably mine, you know. As my former master was a necromancer. And in leaning up against a corner is a great club, which I'm like, I assume is our weapons are there.
Yeah.
So I say, is this yours?
No, but I'm wondering if I could sell it.
I grab it.
Guess not.
So I'll again, just this making like assumptions, right? I go through and try to see, you know, choose the things that I think are mine.
Right. And you don your clothing, armor, and all of that. So now that you are dressed up and ready to go, just describe for us what your characters look like, and you remember a little of yourselves in terms of personality. You know, Jamie, your character remembers their name,
right,
but not really much else.
Yeah, kind of like straggly, like beard that like is sort of patchy in places, possibly from the burns. And you know, some burn, like not like horribly disfigured, but there's like obvious signs of some burns on one side of my face. There's the tattoo. I'm short, like a gnome. And I don't know what else would be obvious about me. Kind of like bug-eyed, got like big eyes. He's kind of constantly looking around him, a little frenetic. Doesn't seem to hold a lot of common sense.
He is so dim that we can tell he has no, like, I'm looking
smart,
at him.
But
no, but I mean, like, you know, you're so like vapid, you know, that like we can.
got intelligence of 14 and a wisdom of 3. Charisma of 16, though. You like me.
What was your character's first name again?
Radagard.
Radagard.
So I have found amidst my things a tattered tunic, like a off-white muslin tunic, a rope belt, and as we're getting things together, I'm wrapping my arms almost unconsciously.
Yeah.
There was a giant pile of these gauzy wraps, and that's what I started doing instead of thinking like I'm a mummy or anything like that, you know, but I'm wrapping my arms and my fists, you know.
And you said you have like seams, like you've been sewn together?
My whole body looks like I was put together
weird.
in several Goliath parts.
it just seemed the right way as far as just sort of blind, like putting things.
I was thinking about something else, and I'm really just casually wrapping myself.
All right, and you are a large, imposing Goliath.
Yeah. Now, how Goliaths work is they don't start off giant, large. They start off medium, probably the bigger side of medium, but still medium. And for like 10 minutes long rest, you can like actually be large.
Right.
So they kind of hulk out.
Okay.
Which is interesting.
I can see the benefits of being large and detriments.
Yeah. Kind of fill in the flesh, as it were. It gets taught.
Yeah, right.
All right. What do you do from here?
Are there any exits from this room?
Appears to be just one, wide doorway out of here. You certainly are in a morgue. Like described, there's sort of a mosaic tile floor, but it's got an ancient quality to it. Like it's been stained over with blood for generations and generations. Everything's sort of dimly lit. And like I said, you can hear a lot of concerning noises coming down the hallway from a distance.
Do want to mention I do have a cloak that's also very patchwork that I cover up. Like, very little of me is seen once I'm actually dressed. Really just my face, and I have 2 different color eyes.
Nice. So anything else you want to check out in here? The Morte, the floating skull, just sort of watches you guys don your clothes and...
Try to pick his brain a little bit, if he'll give us information, or his non-existent brain, about, like what's,
You can see up into his skull,
what's outside these doors? Like what, I mean, you said we're in sigil, but that's kind of non-specific.
He said sigil.
Oh, sigil.
Well, it'll be sigil if, you're from here. And you guys are obviously maybe not, so, you'll get used to the lingo. Yeah, you know what? They don't let me out much, so...
so you don't know.
Are you your master?
Your master? I can be.
Well,
so what is it we are to do?
Certainly, it would be helpful. The next set of bodies I get, I could use you to take the clothes off. That'd be nice. I don't have to use my teeth.
Well, on that note, I walk up the door. What's outside the door? Keep it open.
You see a long, about 10-foot wide hallway, about 8-foot high ceilings. Walls of smooth stone. The doors that you open were actually an iron gate, and it squeaks as you open it wide. Double doors, and everything is sort of dimly lit. Very basementy, and you see sputtering wall sconces with flames. The wall sconces are iron and in the shape of skeletal hands.
So I'm gonna yell, "Hello? Anyone here? We're here. Hello?" I'm like basically announcing myself to everyone who's within earshot.
Nobody calls back, but you do hear just some louder pained moans from down the hallway. You can see after just a few feet, maybe 15 feet, there is a hallway that leads to the right. There's a hallway that leads to the left, and then the main hallway continues forward. You can see a small door all the way at the end of the hallway.
Do you want to explore with me, or you want to stay here?
Are you my new master?
Sure. If it's that easy, I mean, why not? I've never been anyone's master before. I don't really remember who I am, so...
Maybe he's a genie. You should ask for some wishes.
Were you a god?
What would you have us do?
Well, find someone who knows more than this skull, first off.
Morte says, you're probably looking for the Heralds of Dust. Dusters. They kind of run the mortuary, so there's plenty of them running around here. I'm sure you'll run into them sooner or later.
Are they friendly?
No, they don't really take kindly to fleshies.
What is your role in all of this?
I think I'm just sort of waiting in the wings for, like you said, eventually I'm going to be the master of all. No, I don't know. They just kind of have me do the menial tasks, and, I'm more than happy to oblige.
Wouldn't it be useful to have hands to do? Nah, never mind.
I had hands at one point. It's a long time ago, though.
Do you know Sigil well?
It's been a while since I've been out there. Like I said, it's something to behold. But it's been a long time since I've seen outside of this place.
Do you want to see more?
Nope, can't say I do.
All right, let's leave.
Okay. Yeah, I'll start going down the hallway.
Sorry, as far as the mirrors go, I really don't have a whole lot of knowledge. I mean, if you run into another one, you're likely to find one that's got a lot more information than I have.
And whatever that thing is, I'm pretty sure it's not a lich. I do have an Arcana proficiency.
Let's go find this outside.
Yeah, I'll start going down the main hallway.
You head down to the crossroads. There's a mosaic pattern of a circle sort of marking the intersection of the two hallways that are perpendicular to each other, and again, it might have once been a very elegant design, but most of it is now just sort of caked in age and dried blood and things like that potentially. But as you walk into the hallways, or walk near the hallways, you do take note that the hallway to the left has got a tinkling musical sound. It almost sounds like a music box, like somebody's turning the wheel to a music box, which isn't creepy at all.
I'm going to go straight towards that.
And then the right is the sound of, you're not sure, you can't, it's a woman's voice. You can't really make out the words, but it sounds like she is talking to a baby. The way you would imagine like a mother speaking to a baby. And then forward is just sort of the overall moans that you've been hearing emanating from the rest of the hall.
So, music box, creepy lady, or moans. Those are our options.
Yes, they are.
I'll pick if you want. I'm master.
Yes.
I'm master. I'll have to get used to that.
Do you want me ahead of you or behind you?
Definitely ahead. Let's go to the woman. I'm sure that's totally...
So I stride forward.
I head down the hallway to the right, and no gates that I can... Oh, no, there is a metal gate there. So you do have to sort of creak open when a metal gate's not locked. On the other side of it, the room opens up, and in the... Well, actually, there's some flavor text here. So, a sterile chamber reeks of embalming fluid. A mortician in blood-stained apron hunches over a humanoid amalgam of patchwork flesh.
That's a relative of yours?
Elbow deep in its flayed open head, with a pair of surgical instruments embedded in the hollowed out head skull of this.
I'm not sure this is actually sterile.
Definitely smell a lot of formaldehyde, but I don't know if it's sterile. The grim doctor causes the corpse-like creature to twitch and writhe with her movements. You also note that as you're looking at this doctor, it's a female with sort of wispy white hair, wearing a lace veil, along with the surgical equipment, a little bit, or surgical gown and things like that, a little bit out of place. Appears to be, the face is perfectly still and without any affect. And the voice you hear talking is actually emanating from the mouth of the patient without a brain and skull top, as she's manipulating the equipment, the surgical equipment in its head.
To make it talk.
It's actually making noise, and still sounds like she's talking to a baby. The corpse, presumably, on the thing is saying, good, yeah. You like that, don't you? Yeah, that's good.
So I'm going to walk right up to her and be like, hello, you seem like you know what's going on here. How did we get here?
She stops and takes a step back, and her blank affect gets a little furrowed. Does not look pleased to see you in the least.
Is this like a science project that you're doing? Some sort of experiment? I'm pretty good at experiments.
She just stares both of you down and bids you to come closer.
All right, I will.
Yeah. So,
You come up to the table and you can see the corpse is really, it's like completely dissected. I mean, the chest is open, revealing organs, a lot of organs that are missing. I mean, all the way down to the bone on all of the limbs. Digits removed, various pieces that are out. I don't have to ask you, what's your passive
Perception?
oh, my passive perception is
Mine's
14.
6.
As you go into the room, there's another metal gurney to your right, off to the side of the room, and it's a large metal slab, similar to the one that you came off of from in the other room, and you notice it seems to just clank and turn sideways on its own. As if something very large was nearby and had put its weight on it. Like if you were to lean heavily on this table, the whole table would kind of lift up. It's like something had just put its weight on that table, but you don't see anything. Don't see anything at all. What do you do?
I'm not sure if she can talk to us. Can you talk? Once gotten closer.
She moves her hand over to one of the surgical instruments, and the corpse
Makes a corpse.
Yeah. Says, "I have no need for talking to you."
Oh, that's interesting.
You do notice as you get closer, she's very skeletal and almost translucent, slightly ethereal, and her jaw appears to be made out of glass. It's completely transparent and just sort of stuck on there, like it's fabricated.
I don't think she's going to help us.
Did you do anything?
No, I'm basically just covering the little guy.
Let me look around the room and see if I see anything that seems like useful. Otherwise, I think we'll keep going.
I'm going to say roll a perception check.
Yeah, let's do that.
Both of us?
Are you looking around for anything useful?
No. Oh, no, I'll help, though. I can aid, right?
Okay. So roll
you
with
get
advantage.
Get advantage.
9. It's actually good. That's the -4, sort of.
You don't notice anything of value at the moment. But whatever it was that moved the table is now lifted up off the table. The table slams back to the ground. And although you can't see anything, you smell and hear the sounds of something large and very close to you. It seems to be getting within your personal space. Roll initiative. You are going to go first. Scott, your character.
I am going to put myself between the gnome and the table, but then do a hold or whatever that would be called.
Ready your action, basically?
Yeah, ready my action if anything
pops up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, makes sense.
Are you readying an attack? Or
Yeah,
are you
readying
gonna take
attack.
a defensive?
Totally ready an attack.
Okay. And actually, you read it, right? You get to go second.
Oh, wow. 5, okay. Then I'm going to point, basically in front of me. I mean, I'm not going to point, towards my buddy here, my newfound buddy, but I'm going to shoot a firebolt cantrip. Furnace! And, just point in front of me and shoot a bolt of fire. And hope that I hit whatever is in front of me. Against invisible, it's what? -4, is that right? Or is disadvantage?
It's disadvantage.
Can't I guess, but yeah, okay. So 15 was my low one.
15 was
Low, yeah.
I like that such a small person has such heavy dice.
clang, clang, clang.
That's what they always say about me.
You hear just sort of masses of squelching flesh get splattered with your it's a firebolt.
Bolt, yeah, that ball. I wish I could cast Fireball, but I can't. Yeah. I'm on 3rd level.
And just really hard to miss because whatever it is right in front of you,
right,
and lands directly. Roll damage.
7.
Certainly does not let out any vocalization that you're familiar with. Then you feel something swinging towards you.
Mm-hmm.
And since you have readied your action, it just sort of triggers you instinctively to try and strike whatever it is that's now attempting to strike you.
I'm going to... I think it's actually funnily apropos that my new companion is so short because
right over me.
I take the great club and like whip it around and just spin it over my head. You know,
no risk of hitting the knee high.
No,
as you're swinging this over your head, but you recognize that whatever it is that's in front of you is likely at least as tall as you are.
Okay.
And now's probably a bad time for you to notice this, but there are also maybe a dozen bodies or so lying on the other side of that gurney. Okay. All of which have had their skulls removed and their brain matter removed. Apparently. So roll your attack.
All right. And is it at disadvantage?
Yes, it's still invisible. Yep.
Okay. 18 is my low.
Is your low? Okay. Yeah. Well, that hits.
Awesome. So I do 8 points of damage and push it back 10 feet. And I'm going to follow through. I'll spend a focus point now that I like hit it, right? To press. And like before it was sort of like, all right, where are you? But now that I know where he is, just do it again.
Whatever it is that's in front of you is lumbering and large.
Right.
Nope, I failed that one.
And I mean, when I say I miss, I miss.
Not a 1 though, right?
No, not a 1, but
yeah, and just
one probably would hit me. I would imagine.
And thinking about how can we sort of incorporate into 5e the potential for what would be the equivalent of
partial
success. Yeah. We'd have to think more about a percentage of rolls. So I think one of the things with D&D that I've been thinking about is just how heavily weighted on critical failure and critical success.
Yeah.
So I think on one of those, there's going to be, whether it's a critical success or critical failure, we'll have an additional outcome effect as a result. And so then we can still get really excited about critical hits, and then critical failures are really going to have some because it's difficult to think about that in 5e terms of like, okay, what status effect are you going to apply? Because that's outside the rules, but we'll have to think about what those potentials are in the moment, right?
I mean, there are creatures that apply conditions, right? So I think the easiest one is exhaustion. Like, I think exhaustion and damage are like the good go-tos for that sort of thing.
Exhaustion's rough, though. Exhaustion's probably one of the roughest things in 5e, really.
Just disadvantage, straight at disadvantage.
Yeah, it starts with disadvantage.
I mean, it gets worse from there. Yeah.
All right, so this thing, they're getting pushed back 10 feet.
Yep.
You can hear it takes 2 steps to get back right on me. And you are slapped with what feels like a large invisible tentacle.
Ooh, a tentacle.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. We'll see if it
better not be a yoke claw,
slaps you.
because if so, we're screwed.
And,
A yoke claw? That's like a demon that's associated with a drow.
Okay.
That are sometimes invisible.
You just start spouting this like as we're fighting.
I mean,
I hope it's not a yoke claw.
I mean, he has an arcana proficiency.
I think that's awesome. No, I totally think that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
this is what this could be.
Oh, it sounded like a tentacle.
Don't look at tentacle.
So this is 2 swings. I'm going to make note that I am rolling out in the open. I have a shield here, but I'm going to roll this out in the open. And we're going to take the rolls as is. Okay, so I'm just saying.
Sure.
Fine, I know. I'm just saying. Yeah. Let the dice fall as they have. Max damage of 2 dice. Of 14.
14, and I'm using Stone's Endurance.
That's a reaction.
Yes. If you take damage, you could take a reaction to roll 1d12 plus 1. So 14 minus 9.
All right, so you take 5.
Yep.
5 points of damage. Back to the.
Me? Do I have?
I'll just note that the doctor, she is actually just slowly taking a step back.
So based on the fighting that's happening, I have a pretty good idea where this thing is, although we still can't see it, right?
Right.
I am going to open my mouth and a burst of, cone of fire, 15-foot cone of fire kind of erupts out of my mouth. Just a second level spell slot.
That'll be a dex save
Yeah,
for the creature.
it's dex save. DC is 13. For half. A bonus action. And I rolled 15, so it'd be half of 15. It saves.
All right. Well, this thing does not seem to be moving all that quickly. So most likely land right on it. Yeah, it does not save. So it takes, what's the full damage?
15 fire damage.
Do we see like smoke coming off of it or charring or?
No, it remains invisible, which is notable
Okay.
after attacking and receiving damage.
Yeah.
I'll kind of fall back a little bit.
All right. I look around. Do I see are there more gurneys and such? And are there any sheets?
Like I said, there's a pile of bodies. There's the 2 there's the table, the autopsy table. It's
Right.
that's immediately to your left.
Right.
And then there is a gurney, a metal gurney that's essentially behind it. And there are a bunch of dead bodies that are piled up then behind that gurney.
Okay.
There are there's a tray of what looks to be like surgical tools, but no cloth in here.
No cloth in here.
Yeah.
Okay. That's fine. All right.
Unless he's still wearing it around his waist.
So this is what I'm going to attempt to do is I will bellow and get bigger and then attempt to grapple this thing.
All right. You get close enough to it to wrap your hands around it, and what you feel is squishy.
Right.
I mean, and you can see a blood smear, like this thing was covered in blood, appear on your arms as you're wiping it off of, reaching
Right.
around it. And then you seem to kind of sink into like folds of flesh or something. Not quite sure what anatomy you're grabbing a hold of. But it's certainly moist and warm. Yeah. So roll a strength check.
All right. So now my question is, am I still getting disadvantage?
I thought about that. I would think that it's kind of hard, and it's hard since you're touching it to then grapple.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I think at that point you kind of have a good sense of where it's
there
at.
it is. All right.
I think any kind of disadvantage that you would have is really just relative to the nature of the size and strength of this creature. So,
Okay.
no
sounds
additional disadvantage. Yeah.
All right. So that's 10 plus, actually only plus 1. So I only have an 11.
I rolled an 8, but he gets a plus 7. Oh, no, actually, it's a plus 4. It's not a saving throw.
Right.
He gets a plus 4 on that one.
So you just beat me.
Well, just
Yeah.
means you. Oh, man. You hear in your mind, presumably this creature with just a very low growling voice in your mind. Because I suppose something's communicating with you telepathically. It could make any voice it wanted to.
Right.
But, it's got to be appropriate for the creature. And it says, "Your fleshy brain is mine." And one attack on each of you.
Okay.
So as you were attempting to grapple it, you can feel a large limb come striking toward you. Rolling an 18 plus whatever it's likely to hit. 5 plus 4, 9 damage.
I'll take 9.
Take the 9. And then Radagard. Still invisible.
I tried. By the way, that was a natural 20 for
Yeah, I was going to do shield, but no point.
This made me the end of our little friend. He did 14 points of damage without a crit last time.
Yeah, I know.
And since we didn't talk about house rules, I'm going to roll the
Double dice.
crit damage as normal. So we got a 6, a 4, a 3, and a 3.
16.
Yep,
So-
I am unconscious.
Well, plus
Plus.
another 4 points of damage. So that was 20 points of damage total.
Yep, so I'm at -6 and unconscious.
And then you are also grappled up. So the tentacle wraps around your lifeless, limp body. And you, Scott, just see the little gnome kind of fly up into the air and then seems to get stuck on this invisible creature like fly paper. And then you can see sort of the invisible folds kind of shaping around him as if he's sort of gonna get...
I'm becoming lunch.
I go faster. All right, my turn.
Yes.
So this is interesting. What happens if two people are grappling one thing?
It depends on, I guess, the nature of the limbs, I suppose. You could make a call and you could technically have two people grappling, a four-armed monster and the monster holding its own.
Who's
But
the
if
other?
you got two humans grappling one human.
Oh, you're unconscious.
I'm not grappling. Yeah, I'm being eaten.
All right.
Yeah, he's not really fighting the grapple at this point.
All right. Let me think about this for a sec. I could try to just remove... Well, and actually I wouldn't be at disadvantage because I could see you. But does me striking it because it's holding the gnome now make it very obvious where it is? Would I not have disadvantage anymore because the gnome is a marker? It's very clear that if I just hit next to where the gnome is...
Yeah, but I think it's also a matter of being able to target and pinpoint exactly what you're hitting.
Okay.
You could hit the gnome without any penalty. But, right.
Well, that's good to know. All right. So this is what I want to do. I don't know how this works. I want to surprise it. I want to, I want to basically do like an acrobatic maneuver where I do like a wall leap. You know what I mean? And basically hit the wall and then come down with my club, my great club on it. And thinking that I might be able to gain advantage or something to that effect. Cause I'm going this way. It won't necessarily expect me to come back and attack it.
I still don't think I can give you advantage on that.
No.
No.
Okay. All right.
But it will look cool.
Sounds good. All right, let's see. Well, that's still not too bad. +5 is 15.
All right, that's definitely good.
5 plus 3 is 8. And then I'll do Flurry of Blows. It goes back 10 feet again. But I probably missed on a 10 on the second one.
Yeah. On the flurry of blows.
Yeah.
Is it just one attack on the flurry of blows, or?
Yeah. It's all flurry of blows is you spend a focus point to get an extra attack. That's all. And the fact that I can do an attack as a bonus action, so I can move and do other things.
Right. Well, you jump off the wall and whack it with the club. It gets pushed back to the gurney, the metal gurney.
Yeah, I'm trying to push it back towards the lady. My hope is to basically get it fouled up. If it's a large creature, I'm trying to get it fouled up and like at a disadvantage in all of the furniture. And stuff.
It slides along the gurney and then falls about 10 feet from her.
Right.
Again, she's just sort of standing, observing what's going on.
And how's it work? Does it do any extra damage to push it 10 feet into a wall that's 5 feet away?
No, not necessarily.
In this game. Couldn't that even be my sneak attack damage?
No.
If you were sneaking.
And if you're using agility.
Well, no, I'm just saying if, like, you know.
It would be the way.
You have to be using agility, you have to have someone who's engaged with them or advantage.
Renegard. Roll a death save. Round 1.
18, that makes it.
Save.
Although, am I taking any additional damage, or am I just being held?
You're just being held, and at this point are not taking any additional.
That's good. I was worried I was getting digested, but being held is better.
Yeah, just sort of.
It's holding me in a loving embrace.
So, he comes roaring back. Full effect here with both attacks on you. And also roll a intelligence saving throw.
I have a question. Just normal game wise, do you roll every round, or you just roll at the beginning for initiative?
Just the beginning, usually.
Yeah.
It is just
Yeah. And then it just kind of rinse and repeat.
I got a 19 for my intelligence saving throw, which actually means I got a 18. I'm too stupid to know anything happened.
Yeah.
The damage is 16 total.
16 minus another 9.
How many uses of that do you have?
2. That is puts me at 0.
So you are incapacitated.
Yep, I'm at 0. Literally at 0.
Yeah. And at 0 hit points, let's see.
Player makes a death save at when they start their turn with 0.
And you don't really have anybody to
Right.
to rescue you.
Yeah, like I've said before, the biggest thing with death in D&D or a lot of games like this is when you don't have anyone left. You know, it's like you can't do anything. So.
Yeah. So, Scott, your character sees a few things as you begin to fade to black, or otherwise upsetting to you. Besides the fact that you're
Die.
You're dying. Yeah. The first thing is as you get knocked to the ground and you're just stunned, and you're knocked next to that metal gurney and the pile of bodies. Mm-hmm. And you're kind of out of it, you know, but still sort of glazy eyes, kind of looking at your surroundings. The creature, when it realizes it's no longer threatened, turns.
I still get my death save.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Although it could just kill us now at this point.
No, because I go. And if I go, I start at 0 and I get my death save. If I roll a 20, I get a hit point back.
That's true. Yeah.
So it will be your turn. So I won't. Okay. So the one thing you don't see yet, because he's going to do that on his turn.
Right.
But while you're lying on the ground and a little bit, too close to the bodies for comfort, you kind of look at one of the bodies and you notice on the cheek of one of the dead bodies that does not have a skull, you can't really make out the feces, happens to have the same tattoo that your gnome friend, who's now floating up in the air, also has.
Neat.
And in addition to that, one of the other bodies has got stitching
It's covered in stitching.
all over it with really just, decapitated.
Right.
This upsets you tremendously.
I'm going to be eaten.
But it is your turn.
So just before I make my death save, I say, not again. No 20. Oh, well.
The 20 would give you one hit point.
One hit point, yeah.
Did you succeed or fail on the...
I succeeded in my death save, yeah.
Should I roll mine?
roll yours for what it's worth.
Oh, and 15. And is it 10? Is it just like a coin toss? I can't remember. Yeah.
So that's a successful.
And then they don't do negatives anymore.
Yeah.
So now it's at 0, and then if you get hit while you're that, it's an auto failure.
Radagard gets, although you're completely unconscious and not aware of this, you in your sort of fading condition, look up, and the creature is no longer invisible.
Oh.
And this just thinks it's out of the woods as far as it's no longer being threatened.
Right.
Although, in terms of distinction, it not being invisible does not help much.
Right.
It looks as if just how it felt. It is a mass of flesh, what looks to be maybe exposed muscle and brain tissue, with two huge tree trunk arms, two huge tree trunk legs, and just amorphous sort of eyeballs and tentacles in its head.
Oh.
Certainly not a creature that you're familiar with.
Lovely.
But one of the tentacles, maybe the only tentacle, wraps around the head of your newfound friend Gnome, and then proceeds to pop the skull off and absorb the brain from inside.
Oh, Radagard, I hardly knew you.
Instantly killing Radagard.
Yeah, my
So is that,
no longer
I'm just curious, since I can't get advantage apparently. Is it just like a kill move? Is it a special thing that it does?
It is.
Really?
Yeah.
So it circumvents all the other death saves?
Yeah. Well, if something does enough damage to you while you're unconscious, you can stick it.
It's essentially a coup de grace, but it's because you could do that anyway, if you had an incapacitated creature. But
can you coup de grace?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Got it. But that means I get to go.
Right. You still have a turn.
No 20.
But you save.
I did save.
It actually does do 10 die 8 piercing damage.
Oh, well, that would...
But if the damage...
10 die 8.
That would do it.
Good Lord.
But if the damage reduces the target to 0 hit points, this creature kills the target by extracting and consuming its brain.
Oh, cool. That's like a third edition kind of creature.
Yeah.
Remember, a lot of creatures in second and third edition used to have those sort of like instant fatality abilities where they kind of got...
All right. So does it do the same thing to me?
It comes over to you again as you're mainly like in a haze of, really just on the very precipice of consciousness, trying to hold on to life as much as it is, but barely aware of your surroundings. The doctor goes over to the corpse that it was working on, which is now sort of toppled over as well in the scuffle, and then starts to manipulate the surgical instruments, and you hear in the motherly voice, which was actually apparently the voice of the corpse.
Right. I figured.
Good job. Now you can go ahead and you can have another one. This is what they were going to end up doing anyway. Got to have your fun. And the creature, turns, and huge lumbering creature, but you realize it's kind of got the affect of a toddler. It's and then turns to you. But in the back and forth, another round goes by. So it does not rush to your side. May not change your fate, but let's see how you do.
I get a 12.
12,
So-
which is a success.
Yes.
You get 3 successes now?
3 successes.
So you rise with 1 hit point, right?
Is it just one? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So I shake it off. I have 1 hit point. Get to my elbows.
And not to be overly meta, but both creatures in the room seem to be surprised that you have come back awake, and so we'll take the next round as a surprise round. Make that count. The creature is not expecting you to be awake.
Oh, wow. Does it look hurt at all from the stuff that I've done to it?
No.
I am going to bolt for the door.
All right.
Whereabouts am I in there?
But you're in the wrong corner. You're in the opposite corner from the door. There was another doorway on the other side, but you certainly have a distance to go. The distance doesn't matter. You have to make it past this creature, which is now within striking distance. So
It used to be that you could use acrobatics to avoid like attacks of opportunity. Is that a thing?
no, it's not. But I did say this was a surprise round. So
And I do get a free disengage as a bonus action. So I could move, disengage without getting.
Yeah.
a surprise round. Technically, don't even need to use that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm still technically big. So, carve my
Hopefully you
way
fit through the
through,
door.
You leap to your feet.
Yeah.
And you hear the corpse, because she still has her hand on one of the things, kind of go, gargles, and she her hand whips back in surprise that you're just jumping to your feet.
Yeah.
The creature just sort of stops and is flat-footed as you stand up, and you can run about 20 feet to the doorway that you came in.
Sure.
Or sort of make a circle and go about 30 feet to another doorway that looks like it's going to a gate.
That's going to a gate, but the one direction's the one I know. That's a tough choice. It's a really tough choice. Either way, my base movement is 40. So even with a full move, that's 80. I think I'll go the way that I know there's not a gate blocking me, which is the way we came in.
Okay. You get to the intersection,
Okay.
and that's your movement. So now you have an action and bonus action.
Whew. Okay. How long is a short rest?
No.
An hour.
Yeah. Can't do it in combat.
I'll run towards the music, the tinggy music.
So you cross the hallway.
Yeah.
There's another iron gate, not locked.
Right.
Something I appreciated that these are iron gate doors in between. So you're taking an action for movement then, right?
Yeah. Just move with. Yeah. And if I need to, move with dash, because that's my other bonus action. So I can be doing 120 feet if I have that movement.
Lucky, because you might have needed that, depending on which way you went. But so you walk into a cozy square room. It looks to be like a storage room with a number of objects, a lot of just piles of clothing and things that people might have on them. Looks to be where they kind of just store all of the stuff that gets taken off of bodies in the mortuary here. However, there are some things that are moving. There are a pair of eerie dolls that are being manipulated like marionettes. And you can tell that the instead of strings, it's sort of a wispy, ethereal, negative energy that's sort of wisping over them. Some sort of ghostly specter that's controlling them. Creepy. And at first you hear just voices. Something sort of acting out the doll's voices. But as you come into the room, you can actually sort of start to make out what they say. Also, 3 skulls turn their heads towards you. And all 3 of them are full-on skeletons.
Okay.
They're sitting in audience.
Right.
Of the marionette creepy dolls. And before the interruption of you coming in, what you heard the dolls saying to each other is, everyone is already dead. The entirety of the multiverse is an afterlife.
I would buy that.
Undeath holds the key to the next stage of existence. Of course it does. And the skeletons also applaud with
That's
their
very
bony
Buddhist,
hands.
actually.
So do I. So remember, I am undead.
What makes you undead? Are you a
Reborn. Oh, I guess I don't. I'm not the undead template. I guess reborn means you're technically reborn. Or, yeah, because it's reborn, not undead. Yeah.
I don't know that you would give undeath,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I think there's certainly...
But I say, go ahead, continue, and I'll stand in the corner and hide. Don't let me interrupt you. Is what I say.
Make a charisma check.
7.
Both the dolls turn towards you and they look angry. Well, not angry, but they look annoyed. And they go, well, what makes you think that you have any authority in the realm of undeath?
I say, I have died many times now. I awoke only minutes ago.
Seems to take a little step back in terms of...
I'll pull down my hood if I don't already have it off. Like, I'll pull down my hood.
And you
display my stitching,
You get the impression that there's some sort of apparition just behind the dolls.
Sure.
They're just using the doll to communicate with you.
I will still talk to the dolls, though.
Right. And that's kind of what they're expecting, but you agree then that undeath is the natural order of things, that the living is fleeting and temporary.
I assume, if nothing, this is the afterlife.
In fact, one could say that's exactly what most of existence is. All of the outer planes are, in fact, the afterlife for all of those things that live. So you could say that really the ideal state of being is being dead. It's like a match that burns with fire until it turns to a husk. That match lives on for a very long time. The flame is just a short period, but the rest of that matchstick continues to exist.
You are far smarter about these things than I, but I don't think I disagree. But please continue your show. It is most enlightening. Was there a door into this room?
Just the door that you came in.
Right, into this room.
Yeah.
I'll close it.
It's the gate. It's still see-through.
Oh, okay.
That's what I said. I didn't really appreciate that it's like...
But it's a room, right?
Yeah.
So I'll just go in the corner opposite of that hallway.
Yeah, and you can look all the way down to the other gate. Now it's so dimly lit that you don't necessarily really see much.
I'm just sort of tucked
but
away.
whatever it is not necessarily following you.
That I know, but it's invisible. So how can I tell?
Yeah. You don't see it following.
Okay. Of course I don't. It's interesting. I don't think monks back in the day used to have like some healing. Maybe you get it later on.
Yeah.
Later on. But I don't get
Yeah, I don't think it was right.
That's in your
right up
class
front.
too, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. The healing the resistance you were using was a
Stone giant. It's because of my stone giant ancestry. Yeah. But the nice thing is that if I get into another combat and I roll initiative, I get my focus points back.
Jamie, do you have another character prepared?
I do.
Wow, that's convenient. Because
Lothar the Unread.
Lothar awakens on a metal examination table in a dim, windowless stone chamber. You are covered in a death shroud, a mostly stained, probably reused sheet covering your naked body.
What the hell is this now? Pat pulls it off of his head, looks around.
Hey, Chief! Another one!
Another one? Another what?
It's just things have been moving and shaking around here more than usual. Most of the people coming here are pretty cold and lifeless, and you seem to be a bit more than that.
And he looks down at himself. I guess he's also naked, I'm guessing.
Also naked.
So he's got like kind of greenish skin and like long kind of wild red hair. He's an orc. He has one big tooth sticking out, the other one's kind of snapped.
I will note, whether you intended it or not, on the cheek, you have a tattoo of a demon glyph.
I usually break mirrors when I look in them, so
you don't recall where you got it, and if you'd like to recall your name, roll an intelligence check.
fail.
It's very upsetting. You have no
Got a 6.
idea how you got here, and you have no recollection of who you are.
I'm going to look for something sharp, like immediately. Start looking for, like if it's a dagger, great, but a shiv works just as well. Like just something.
There is a scalpel.
My comfort shiv. My comfort shiv.
There's a polished scalpel on the shelf with flasks of embalming chemicals. But also, as you step off of the gurney or the metal platform that you're on, you also step onto your clothing and whatever equipment that would normally be on there. And Morte says, "Oh man, I just removed all that stuff. Don't ask me how.
I'm putting it back on. So like just some ratty like leather armor.
Sure, you're just gonna take it. You're just gonna take it.
Looks like I've been sleeping in it for like a month, which I probably have.
Okay, you'll be back here anyway.
Back here.
I'm just saying, like some.
Yeah, I was feeling more comfortable once I found the scalpel, but now it's kind of going away again.
The scalpel could definitely function as a dagger.
Yeah, I'm gonna grab that.
Do you also have daggers?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, I have set the basic rogue. I figured we just get the standard starting gear. So,
Any armor?
yeah, the leather, the like kind of like, it barely looks like leather armor because it's like got like holes in it and dirty and whatever. He's been living rough for a long time.
It's enough layers of grime that it becomes.
That's the armor. Right? It's maybe hide armor. Right?
It was fresh skin.
Is there anyone else there? He's not in the room with me, right? I'm here alone.
There are about 7 or 8 other bodies on slabs, lifeless, covered in sheets.
Guessing I don't recognize any of them.
They're covered. You know.
Okay, full blanket. Shoot
You
off.
start to uncover all of them.
Yeah, a couple of them. Whatever's closest, kind of pull it off. It's mostly just curious. It's kind of like what the fuck.
Start pulling things off, and no, actually, you do not recognize it. I mean, you barely recognize yourselves. So.
Sure, but
various species. Some of them you don't even really recognize as like you wouldn't even be able to name. But other ones you're like, oh, that's an elf.
right.
That's a dwarf.
And once I have my stuff, I'm going to be like, you're useless to the skeleton, and then just start walking towards the door.
Well, I am just a skull, not a skeleton. So, it'd be more useful if I had hands.
Yeah.
I guess.
Are you able to leave this room?
Am I able to?
Come with me. He's already kind of walking towards the door. Like, it's kind of like if you follow, you follow. If not, like, who needs you? And just start walking down the hallway.
You don't hear anything behind you as you look behind you.
Yeah.
There's a skull right behind you, floating very close.
He's mostly really
comfortably.
Yeah. He's mostly like really cool. Like he's kind of like whatever about everything. But he does like 10 jumps back. What the fuck? All right.
You can wait to this character, Sean. I think we have found Sean's axiomatic character.
More today than somebody.
Yeah. It's like this Dungeon Master in the D&D cartoon, right? Like, yeah, like figures just the floating skull. Totally work.
Scott, your character sees a orc walk into your field of view as you're looking down the
But
hallway.
I'm not. Because we're in a room, right? It's a square room.
Yeah.
So I'm in this corner. If this is the door, I'm in this corner.
Yeah.
I'm just... So I can't see back, right? You know what I mean?
You're not okay. So you hear. Say that.
Sure.
You hear voices. One of them you recognize as Morte. Talking.
Right.
The other voice you don't recognize out in the hallway.
I'm like pulling stuff close to me to hide.
Sure. And to the skull, I'm like, so you're going to show me the way out of here, right?
There is a way out of here. Mm-hmm. It's been a long time. Honestly, I'm not sure how to get out. But I do know that the Heralds of Dust, they run this place, but they're unlikely to tell you the way out either.
I have a feeling you're more likely than they are.
You may be right. They don't take kindly to fleshies. Mm-hmm. And you certainly qualify. Matter of fact, unless you're dead or undead, you really don't belong here.
I might be dead for all I know, but either way, I want to get out of this place.
Maybe you were. Maybe now you aren't anymore. Seems to be like a glitch. And it's not supposed to happen that way. I mean, I don't think you would even make it this far if you were
A lucky glitch.
fleshy.
So what's in there anyway to point towards the nearest room?
Oh, I don't know. I don't go in there.
Well, there's a first time for everything, right?
Sure. He looks to the hallway down the right. He says, I think you should go down there.
Why? I get this kind of shifty look in my eye.
I think one of the dusters was down there. They might know the directions out if you ask nicely. Probably asking nicely is not going to help that much, but they certainly will know the way out.
You seen anyone else around here lately? I could probably use a little help.
Every once in a while, they just bring me more bodies, and it's just usually one of the dusters, that's all.
All right. Well, I guess I'm going to have to get out of here somehow on my own. And I kind of like, I'll start also going into the shadows, going into the room.
All right.
Creeping in the... I imagine the same room that you're in, but I'm also hiding, like moving through the room in the shadows.
Okay. It's the opposite of the way that Morte was telling me to go.
I know. Yeah, no, that was intentional. It got kind of shifty. It was like, oh, you want me to go that way, huh? Even though I just told him to be a scout, a scout for him. But
Scott, your characters, you're pulling stuff on top of you.
Mm-hmm. Because you said this is like a storage
room.
So yeah, I'm like pulling like a barrel in front of me, maybe a mop or like whatever's in here. Because I'm hearing something come down the hall, and I am very much concerned.
I'm fairly stealthy, but I imagine you, since I'm not trying to hide from you, you probably did notice me. Kind of.
Well, you have to open the door. Right?
Oh, that's so, yeah, sure.
Yeah, and I'm like,
yeah.
Since I get the roll for the things that you encounter or that you're pulling on top of.
Oh my God, 0-0.
I just rolled a 100.
I never had this.
A metal urn containing the ashes of a hero.
How would you know that it's a hero?
Yeah, it says
the
ashes of a hero. Yeah, you may. You also get a
85
is a diary. And 96, these are all hard rolls. A black pirate flag adorned with a dragon skull.
Totally.
Totally useful.
You like break into the frat closet or something? What's going on?
There's also a purse containing 30 gold pieces.
Nice.
And you notice there's, like you're pulling like clothing on you.
Mm-hmm.
There appears to be a few uniforms or some sort of clothing, but all three of them are the same.
Well, okay.
do you take with you any of these?
Yes, definitely the flag, definitely the diary, and definitely a uniform.
A uniform.
Not the urn. I mean, I love the fact that it's in it, but I find it would be hard for me to do what I do carry.
Yeah.
And the purse?
Oh, yeah.
And the purse. Very cool. Okay. So as you're sort of pocketing this stuff, the puppeteers kind of going back to sort of they're lecturing at each other.
Oh, good.
Trying to teach the skeletons
Right.
about undeath and the importance of that.
That's really worried that they were going to attack me.
And you hear the iron gate creak open, and you hear large, lumbering footsteps.
Who's that?
And then you hear a familiar voice of Morte going, "There's nothing in here. This is just a room with a bunch of junk."
I am a rogue.
Never mind. Oh, I'm sorry.
Not that lumbering.
Not that lumbering, yeah. Quietly lumbering.
The orc and the Goliath tried to hide from each other.
He's more of like a cut purse kind of rogue, but he's still definitely a rogue.
Yeah. You enter in the room and notice really just the apparitions that are in here. Two dolls that are talking to each other appear to be manipulated somehow by some ghostly apparition or two that's controlling it. And then not even paying attention to you are three skeletons that are just sitting on various things in the room, watching the dolls intently.
When I notice the skeletons, I'm definitely going to freeze for a second. But then if they don't move to attack,
Yeah, they don't.
If you look at you again.
Yeah, they don't seem all that.
I haven't sensed him in the room yet, right?
No. What's your passive perception?
A little better than 15.
After a few beats, you do notice hiding in the corner is.
Don't I get a stealth check?
Are you trying to hide?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Roll.
Are you still large?
Huh? Yes. No. 10 minutes has passed.
Oh,
right?
okay.
Yeah. No, this happened pretty quickly.
Okay. Yep. I'm still right.
This thing is funny. He's trying. I don't know if you get disadvantage then, but
13 plus
6.
5.
Oh, actually, you remain hidden.
I'll look at Mortis, look at the skeletons, and once they don't seem like they're hostile, I'll kind of walk up to them and do you talk?
To the skeletons?
Mm-hmm.
They turn their head towards you and kind of flip their head over at you. And then they kind of shake their heads and their jaw kind of clatters against their teeth. What teeth they have.
Oh, God.
They just kind of rattle.
This prison is very hard to break out of. All right, I'm going to turn around. And as
If at first you don't succeed, try again, I always say. Mort.
I start walking towards the door, but then suddenly stop, and then I'm going to look around to see if there's anything to steal, basically, anything I can take.
Roll a perception check on this one.
10. It's got +5, but I just rolled. Plus my passive perception is 15, It's like...
Sitting next to the skeletons, on the other side of the skeletons, looks to be a potion bottle.
Pick it up. I'm not going to just drink it. The last character would have totally did that. Yeah, exactly. What does this do?
It is labeled.
Oh. That's
read it?
Rare. What language is it in? Oh, wait, I can't read it because I can't read. Yeah, I speak several languages, but I'm illiterate. Yeah. So, yeah.
You do not know what it is.
Yeah. It's like, whatever.
You're actually kind of annoyed because you're like, wait a minute.
I mean, he's probably, used to it, but I'm going to just kind of pocket it and be like, I'll figure it out later. Someone else.
Yeah, you feel disappointment, but then you realize it's kind of a disappointment you've had for a long time.
Right. Is that the only thing I found?
That's it, yeah.
All right.
And the puppet show kind of continues, although...
Yeah, see, I don't think you're in the room, so I don't see any other reason to linger here anymore. Right. So I'm going to head for the door.
Okay.
But this looks like it's probably one of the victims, right? That's they They don't look official in any way. They don't look.
Roll a perception check.
Nope.
What'd you get?
The 2.
Oh my gosh.
Even with my +2 perception, I'm +4, so I get a 6.
Yeah, I mean, other than the obvious that it's, you know, a large...
But Morte is talking to him like a guide, right? Not right. I'll if he's leaving, I will quietly set these the urn aside and follow
the human urn.
Yeah,
like that. Oh, here's where it ended up. After thousands of years. So you're going to sort of stealthily follow behind. All right. You were already stealthy, so we'll keep that.
Okay.
You go back out into the hallway. You can go left, right, or forward.
Forward. Boldly.
Just a comment. Right is the way is from where you just came.
Mm-hmm.
So you go forward from here.
Yeah.
Looking to the left, you can see a long hallway with a small door all the way to the left. Forward, there's an iron gate that's open. Okay.
But I haven't been there, right? That's the opposite direction I came from.
Your character has not been.
Right.
I go, don't go that way.
Did he actually say it?
Yeah.
I began to freeze. This fucking place. Slowly turn around. And I was, whoa, you're a big guy. Come on.
You see Morte immediately, and he goes, I didn't say that. And then he kind of looks to the side, and behind him there is a very large, grayish humanoid that seems to be essentially really just wearing a cloak.
Loosely sits together at this point because it looked pretty bad.
Yeah, definitely looks.
There's an invisible
really
demon in there.
Of course there is.
I think my friend who perished is called an Yokoth.
Well, I don't know what that is, but that sounds bad. So let's not go in there.
And now that you're face to face, you notice that he has a tattoo. On his cheek. It's the same tattoo.
You have the same tattoo as my gnomish friend.
No. And also
my previous master.
Yeah. I say I'll take your word for it. And I kind of pause me looking at the previous master. How did he become your master? What did he do?
He said he was my master.
Well, that's some deal. All right, I'm your master. Let's go.
Then what's my name?
You haven't told me your name. I don't know.
You are not my master.
All right. No,
but
it's worth a shot.
If we agree to protect one another, then we can maybe get out of here alive.
It's the only way to survive is to have someone at your back that's not going to put a knife in it.
I've already been at your back, and I did not put a knife in it.
That's exactly my point.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I don't have any knives, but
I've got several if you need it.
I go, and for your troubles, and I throw you the purse.
I catch that, and I open it, and my eyes widen, and immediately put it in, a pouch that you didn't previously see.
Mortis says, "Oh, look at that! Yeah, you can
say you're
spend that one. It's not here.
You don't want anything in return for that. I don't have to kill someone or eat something weird.
Consider it payment for my protection. That thing really did a number. I only got out, barely got out with my life.
This is a strange place. All right. Do you have any idea how to get out of here? Obviously not the bad room.
There is a room through the bad room, or a way through the bad room. I don't know where that goes. So this is the only place I've not been, and I point to the direction.
Yeah, this is the open
towards the
hallway.
morning. Yeah.
So we're going to go the direction that we haven't.
All right. Head down the hallway. There's a large triangular mosaic as the hallway opens up. In front of you is a very small iron windowed door, but the hallway, which is about 10 feet wide, extends in both directions to the left and to the right.
So it splits off?
It splits off. So essentially there's a door in front of you and something odd about that door.
Can we look through the window in it?
Yes. So Next to the door is an ashy broom and dustpan. It's leaning against the wall outside the narrow corridor with an iron windowed door. Yeah, 2 levers. A blue lever in the upward position and a red lever turned downward are set into the wall.
I wish we would have found this for the other character. That's so much fun.
Adjacent to the door.
Years not long for this world, one way or the other. Okay.
So actually, the iron windowed door is open. It doesn't say that, but it's got to be. Because you can see there's an identical door stands closed at the end of a long passageway.
Do you think we should go through there or on their direction?
Let's do it.
All right. I kind of steel myself and then go into the room with the levers.
Now, the levers are outside the room.
Oh, they're outside the room. Okay,
Yeah.
sorry, I didn't catch that.
Yeah, sorry. I mean,
Wonder
it's-
if each lever controls a door.
Maybe.
Should we check before we go in or no?
Just trying to decide if it's safer to flip them or not. Oh, what the hell? I guess try it. I kind of like...
Maybe use the broom to prop this door open
Yeah, we'll do that.
and then push the lever that's up.
the blue lever's up, the red lever's down.
Are the doors colored at all?
No.
No.
You set the broom in the door jamb.
Yeah.
You pull on the blue lever and the door slams shut, breaking the broom, splintering it into pieces. You can hear sort of ticking, like machinations going on in the room.
Ticking usually, it's usually bad.
The red lever then flips up.
Like an incinerator or something? You want to wait for a minute and see what happens? Let's get back a little bit, though.
Sure.
Okay. Does anybody touch the red lever?
Not yet.
No?
We'll wait a few minutes, but then
Yeah. Yeah.
After about a minute, the blue lever flips back up, the red lever flips back down, and the doors on both sides open.
on both sides.
Then yeah. Yeah.
You run down the hallway, and as you're running into the middle of the hallway, you see a silhouette walk by, just sort of lumbering, and of course, both doors slam shut.
Like behind us or ahead of
In
us?
front of you, in the door in front. It's also an iron windowed door. The window is like a thick glass, and it's got like a brown kind of ring smudged around the outside.
Are we trapped in it on both?
Yeah, both doors are closed. You notice the Morte is floating on the other side of the door that you just came through.
Oh, he didn't come with us?
Come.
Bastard does know more than he lets on. I knew it.
He's like, you're lucky I don't have any arms. He's sort of shouting. Not that I would, pull the lever or anything but that zombie might. And you look at the other window and you see a zombie face staring at the window, and then he kind of shuffles out of view.
I'll call after him, see if he responds, like if he reacts.
You go up to the window, and he has a name tag that says Maurice.
This is really weird.
And
Maurice.
you see on the other side of that door is a similar blue-handled lever in the down position and a red lever in the up position. And he puts his hand on the red lever. What do you do?
It reminds me of that Pirates of the Caribbean, the ride with all of the pirates trying to coax the dog.
Yeah. Yeah, like, over here. Okay.
Yeah, I'll try to wave him off. I don't think it's going to work, but
How are you trying to wave him off?
I'm just like, no, go to that other one. Like shaking my hands at the window.
He stops and kind of looks up at you.
Also saying his name, see if he reacts to that.
Roll a charisma check.
Can I aid? Can I help? Can I be like, you're the best zombie, Maurice? I say she always says so.
The employee of the month.
I will give you advantage given that awesome. you're helping.
All right. Roll a 5 and a 6. So it's just a +1, so 7.
Oh God.
The zombie pulls the red lever.
Thanks, Maurice. really came through.
And he's like looking at it, like makes eye contact.
Yeah, he pulls it. Yeah. I don't remember my past life too well, but I feel like this.
Oh no!
What? That's a lot of dice. Those are like those are gold pieces that we're getting, right?
Yeah. So we got 22, 24, 35, 37 points of damage.
You get the
Safe for half.
Oh, sorry.
39.
39. Very important. May have to see out.
I got 24, so if you can save for half, then I might be able to make it, but otherwise there's no chance.
Oh, roll a dex save. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Usually the case, not all. I only got a 12 though. They rolled 4. So what was the DC?
18.
Yeah, no.
18.
Yeah, no. I am charcoal. Yeah.
Yes. What happened?
You are also charcoal.
Yes.
I managed to kill 3 characters in 2 hours. So
Yeah.
I think that's.
I got the cycle. I mean, this is something I'm trying to play with the Fallen cycle a little bit in a different way, kind of a longer form way, but the fun of having these characters overlapping stories based on when they die or when they, and the sort of memories that can be passed. In this case, you're just erasing memories in each cycle, but
yeah. And the intention, I think, of this, of the mortuary here is that basically in every place there's just something that's utterly lethal. I mean, the only thing that wasn't lethal was the poltergeist managing the dolls, and even then, if you pissed them off, they would have attacked you. Mm-hmm. So eventually you would just learn, okay, this is the way out without, if you go anywhere that has something, it's pretty much going to kill you. So you're just going to cycle through your 3 characters until you finally make your way out. And then
I did feel like I was inside Baldur's Gate 2 or Torment, where that sort of level of lethality is sort of expected in a certain way, where it's become
Tomb of Horrors-esque.
Yeah.
Tomb of Horrors, yeah. But with the intention of you just kind of getting a feel for each of your characters. Mm-hmm. Because as you go on in the campaign, the same thing happens. If you die, you always come back. You are, in fact, a glitch, and that's sort of, in this campaign setting, what makes you special, at least as far as Sigil is concerned.
Yeah.
Part of this is to sort of resolve why are you glitching, and then, ultimately, what are the, what's the relationship between the different characters that all have this sort of similarity, as part of what happens with the campaign. No spoilers.
Right.
Forgotten gods walk among us. The Fallen Cycle is an existential fairy tale for those of us who never outgrew the occult logic of myths and dreams. Follow the crack between the ordinary and the impossible, but tread carefully. It can carry you past the bounds of sanity. Featuring an immersive original soundtrack. Search The Fallen Cycle wherever you get podcasts, or listen now at fallencycle.com/podcast.
So that was Planescape. That was the Turn of Fortune's Wheel book, which is the 5e module for Planescape. And I was excited to run that for you guys. It starts off, just how we described, in the mortuary with Morte, and is really intended to be a very difficult, like you had said, Tomb of Annihilation type of...
Tomb of Horrors.
Tomb of Horrors, type of module where you're not necessarily expected to survive. I actually came into this with the hypothesis that I was not going to be able to kill you guys.
Yeah.
And we've talked about this before, but I think I find it very difficult to get to a point where characters are challenged with the actual threat of death in the 5e rules, given that
Party size is a huge factor in that too, of course.
right. Yeah, I think the fact that there
Four
were
of
like
us
two of
would
you.
have been very different.
Right.
It would have taken 4 times or twice the hits.
Plus, you can like resuscitate each other and
Right. Clerics, right? Healing, that kind of stuff. But also, I mean, that was twice our CR, right?
Yeah.
That was,
Right.
I'm
Right.
assuming the math is supposed, I mean, I understand that, 5e CR is a
Squishy.
squidgy to begin
Yeah.
with.
Yeah,
But,
honestly, I don't understand it very well.
but that's supposedly
a party of four.
4 6-level characters,
Right.
right?
So it's like
That's
6-level
huge.
characters.
That's
over
huge.
2
For
third-level
two
characters.
third-level characters. That would have been very challenging. I don't
Yeah.
know how, because how many hit points did that thing have?
108, I think.
108. Holy God. That's why I ran. I mean, I ran because I felt like I hit it 2 pretty significant times.
And I burned it. And
You hit it 2, 3 significant times. I was like,
You removed over 30 hit points on it. But
I was like,
it would have
4.
been another 2 or
Yeah.
3 rounds before.
the only real meta knowledge I was using was like, if this thing can start invisible, it's gonna be way higher. Like
And
it's gonna
stay
have a
invisible
lot of
after
hit
attacking.
points. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm at 1. It's 1 hit.
Yeah, but that was happenstance because that first roll that I did was how many brains. So this was an eater of knowledge for anybody that wants to look it up. That was one of the creatures that's in the Planescape
Very cool.
text.
Very creepy.
Yeah, so it's just something very new. But he rolled I rolled a 10, so he had enough brains that he had already eaten that he could cast greater invisibility.
Well, greater invisibility.
And if he had only had
That's why when he got set on fire and all this stuff, we couldn't.
or when
see
he
it.
attacked, because otherwise,
Right,
if he
yeah,
attacked me,
right.
And I was planning on him being invisible out of the way. I mean, assuming that I rolled at least a 3, because if he had 3 brains, he could cast invisibility.
No, that's fun.
But with the 10 that I rolled, he had greater invisibility. So I'm like, all right, he's going to be difficult to hit this entire time.
Yeah.
Although I also didn't have the Duster join in, that Herald of Dust.
yeah, she was just hanging
supposed
out and watching.
Yes, I mean, she was supposed to have attacked as well.
Yeah.
But
We would have been done in 1 round then.
yeah,
What CR is she?
she was another 4.
4.
So
Yeah.
total 10 CR.
I mean,
But again, it's supposed to be lethal, and I mentioned this before, but it wasn't supposed to be as written. And really, the only thing I changed in this module was it was supposed to be a flesh golem, which is the CR5 instead of 6.
Yeah.
So it wasn't
A lot of
I just wanted
brains, a
something
lot, yeah.
a little bit exciting and
Yeah.
brain eating all of that.
Yeah.
So.
I had a lot of fun with that. I mean, one thing it made me think about is the sort of continuity of memory being the main thing that resets. Like when I went from one character to the other, it's like he doesn't remember things from the other character. He doesn't know those things. So it's kind of getting into that sort of frame and like figuring out what things. It's fun to be able to do that in a single adventure.
Yeah.
Usually it's not that way. Usually if you die in an ongoing campaign, like it's like, do you have a character prepared? No. Like I'll be back next time. I'll see you guys.
Right. You're just sitting as a
smoke.
bystander.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like, okay, I
Yeah.
got to think about another character I can make up. But we did roll 3 characters to start. That's what's the intention for this module. And as you could surmise, there was some relationship between them, and that slowly gets revealed over the campaign, the entire campaign. I don't think it's until 14th level that you actually discover the truth of the connection of those characters. Although even as players, you probably figure that out ahead of time. But what I thought was interesting was you are supposed to wake up with little to no memory, and then I had decided that you would just roll an intelligence check anytime that you wanted to recall anything about your past.
Right.
The only thing you guys tried was your name, and then you got to the point where neither of you knew your name.
And that's always a question with like his memory reset stuff where it's like, I mean, okay, I don't know my memory or my personal history maybe, but there's obviously like a lot of stuff that you no.
I remember how to speak. I remember the time I choose.
Right.
I remember how to eat. Right.
Well, you also remember how to use a club.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, use a club and those
how
things.
to be your class.
Yeah.
There's a lot of interesting
But like Arcana, for
knowledge.
instance, like what would I like? If I figured I could do an Arcana check and know certain things, but
I don't remember my name, but I remember what the various schools of wizardry are.
Right.
And why does that work?
Yeah.
Well, and in the amnesia trope, right? That's also pretty common. Where,
Right.
like, I just don't know. I don't remember anything about my past, but I remember there's these other things, and just to take you into the real world, because I'm a neurocritical care nurse. For actual brain injury, you can have that level
separation
of lack of memory, remembering either short-term things, long-term things,
like procedural or like
one of the things that I got really interested in with neuro was stroke patients. That there was one in particular that was an orchestra conductor. And really could not remember much about his past. Really was just kind of dementia, type person. But they wondered what would happen if they brought him up in front of an orchestra. And the way it was described was he's sitting there going, "Why am I here? Why are you having me do this? Like, I don't know anything about this."
Right.
And they put him up on the little platform, gave him a little wand, and he turns to the orchestra and just starts conducting an orchestra. So I've certainly had real life patients that are very much in that same situation.
It's a cool situation.
It is possible, but just the not having a name, I almost felt like this was like Fight Club with Ed Norton's character, right? You go through the whole story without him ever having a name. Remember he's billed as Jack because when he talks about the when he reads the children's books, I am Jack's liver or whatever.
Right, yeah.
So because he says I am Jack, over and over again, he's reading those books. His character's actually billed as Jack, and obviously Brad Pitt is the other character. But I was, wondering if that was kind of going to be your thought process here, and just sort of having that amnesia, like,
What was the tattoo? Like, was it? I thought
That was your tattoo,
right? Like, it wasn't like momentum, but like, did it have like an instruction in there to?
Yeah, so those questions I asked at the beginning were all sort of character building, and it's kind of weird because it's called a nexus feature, and that was the die roll out of 4. So it was notable scar, birthmark, and a distinctive symbol or piece of clothing, which kind of worked out. The other two, which I'm glad I didn't roll because I was a little bit worried, because the other one was a signature weapon or piece of armor.
that
a little
you
bit
all
tough,
have, right?
that you all
it's like,
have.
why am I
That
a
would
wizard
make
with
sense.
plate mail, right?
Right, exactly. It'd be like, I wear this helmet all the time. It's like, this makes sense. And the other one was a particular type of makeup or hairstyle. Makeup.
You all have mohawks. You all have
So
mohawks.
I'm glad you guys rolled the scar, or or the tattoo, and
that could have gotten very memento depending on what the tattoo was.
yeah. Especially not having a memory.
Yeah.
But and then the other questions I think were just meant to like be something consistent with each of your characters and lead you into
That's good. I like it when they give you something that you can actually use somehow to springboard off with role playing. Sometimes D&D, sometimes you get like a random roll 1d6, and one of these options is something for your character, and sometimes it's something that seems like, how am I going to even I like this kind of flower, like whatever it is, where it's really like, what do I do with that?
It's like the traits,
so
like
cool
the bonds, and those kind of things too.
Right.
But it's weird because it's like, one, you guys, as you designed your characters, had by just naturally written out a backstory. And there's also asking these questions about your backstory, and then you wake up and you don't remember any of it.
Right. Yeah.
So, and I haven't gone that far in the module to see how much of those things and backstories are really
You
pertinent.
could actually bring it up again.
Yeah.
Because I'm all for backstory. It's just, I think we've discussed a little bit on the podcast before, just like the importance of actually being able to, use it at the table. Like I'm not quite as hardline about if it doesn't happen at the table, it doesn't happen sort of thing. But I know, but I definitely do think it's like you got to use some of it. Like it has to come into play. Otherwise it's not.
Yeah.
It's the reason actually that I do that, though, that I think of it that way is so players and the GM can be surprised by some of that. And also it's a point of pushing back where you give some power to the players saying, oh, well, I killed your father. And then if your backstory is like, no, the six-fingered man killed my father, that's the opportunity to roll. Whose narrative is you know, and you know, a GM
It can
could
be
be like,
sometimes hard to get people, and myself included, sometimes players to like sort of take the license, the liberty to do that sort of thing, because you have a sort of implicit, like, I don't want to step on your story kind of thing.
right. But that's why I do the diatribe in the beginning, like everything, right? The fiction doesn't exist until it comes to the table, and part of our goal is to say, yes, you roll the dice, and if you allow somebody to say something, then go for it.
Decide.
Otherwise, you know, like, why do you know that better than I? You know, kind of idea. And you'd be like, oh, because I was there, maybe I roll a skill that's appropriate to that,
right.
you know? I mean, it depends on how sacrosanct you want to make that, because I think it is an interesting idea of background and, you know, and like we all know what our histories are, but do we? Like, quite honestly, like a lot of that can be fuzzy. A lot of that is like really poor narrator, right? Unreliable narrator,
getting back
right?
into the real world thing again too, like it's, you know, been pretty demonstrated that when you recall something, you're kind of subtly or not so subtly rewriting it in the sort of narrative that you're telling yourself, and so over time it becomes
what's your identity, but how somebody, you know, and this, I'm a big fan of tabula rasa, because then it's even more helpful to let people let go of those backstories. But I want, like, a good example is like Burning Wheel, where if you're writing that backstory into your beliefs, then it's solid. That's the truth, you know, because it's being brought into the fiction. But if you just have, I'm secretly the Lord of Visigoth, you know, and like, no, you're not. Like, and until it's proven otherwise, like.
And we've played some campaign or some settings where that backstory becomes really the thing you clue off of in order to do to do anything in the campaign. That becomes the story. Which I think that there's been some
Free Market did that
mechanics, that really worked well for that. I'm wondering with what you're saying is how applicable that is to 5e. I mean, how much of a challenge does 5e put in front of that? I mean, besides the the bonds and personality traits and background.
Everything, because you're putting bonds, flaws, background, and personality. Those four things, I think, getting added in 5e were actually pretty substantial and pretty important.
Oh, there still isn't like a system for like resolving them, right? Like
there is. Well, there's a system in. No, I'm sorry. If you act through them, you get inspiration. It's really the drive for getting inspiration. Which inspiration is a reroll. It's not just advantage.
Yeah, no, it's not
important. You know. I'm actually rolling Wild Beyond the Witchlight right now, and the PCs, one of the ways, the hooks to play is that the PCs in their youth had been to the carnival and something had gotten stolen. They're called lost items. And I basically started saying, hey, because you've lost these items, until you regain them, you can't get inspiration. As this idea. And so it's like, you guys are role playing really well, but too bad, but just trying a little edge to try to drive them towards wanting these things back because they've lost their luck, they've lost their inspiration, right? And how that works.
Does that then become, or I maybe pose this a question for 5e? We've had some flashback mechanics where it's like 5e, you've got the loadout of all of your items, and for this session, all of your stuff was in a pile on the floor of the morgue, and you pick up all of the things that you picked up. But we played other ones where it's like, okay, you have or what do you need in this particular situation? Okay, you need this. Let's do a flashback. How did you get that?
Definitely,
So
I think that would work in that.
I do, and I'll tell you how. And like, for instance, I didn't choose a lot of gear for better or ill. I mean, we could have used it, right? But I would suggest having gold pieces open, just start them with gold pieces, where then if they want something, they can have that flashback, and then you just have them buy. It's the same thing as loadout, right? In Blades or something like that, where you have a specific number of items, what you need. I think that's way more satisfying as both a player and narratively than, well, I have a 10-foot pole, but I'm never going to fucking use it, right? Or I buy a rowboat. Well, that's cool, but I'm never going to use it, right?
Various kits.
Right. And the kits are built as skills. So if you want one of those kits in the beginning, that kind of makes sense. But yeah, you could totally just purchase that.
Yeah, and you might sort of pencil in that, they were a blacksmith, prior to their days of adventuring, something like that.
But I want to remind everybody that like stuff like backgrounds and flashbacks and things like that is the same sort of thing as like tone, right? It's because like I've described before, like the idea of like, all right, well, I have a spear or my opponent has a spear and they thrust it at me and maybe, all right, I dodge and try to stab him with a sword? Or do I knock his spear point to the ground and run up the shaft of his spear and kick him in the head? One, I avoided an attack and I successfully hit. The color doesn't really matter, right? Like however you're going to bring that in. And I suspect that that's gonna, it's as problematic as it was, so Lost was like one of the big foundation piece, narrative pieces where you're slowly but surely revealing the pasts of people. So I often say, like, tabula rasa games, you learn more, and it's your whole character's like that.
Right.
Everything comes from background.
It's almost like starting with a player character sheet.
Right.
And you don't fill anything out.
You don't fill anything out. Right.
Which I think you could do in 5e.
Yeah. A lot of times it's like a letter to yourself. I mean, for me anyways, like backgrounds and especially in D&D where it's not like something like, like a belief in Burning Wheel, which is kind of different. But like like for instance, with this character tonight, that second one, the rogue, like his backstory, he was an urchin. Like he grew up on the streets. There's not a situation where like, hey, I'm an urchin. I grew up on the streets. Like, but like a lot of it's like kind of like edginess and sort of like, okay, like the way he was trying to, at least the way I was trying to think about the situation that he was in was informed by that.
Shadows, and stealthily, But
first thing I do is look for a shiv.
Right. We talked about it last time with archetypes and tropes, right? Like
while still naked, you look for a shiv.
Right. So
exactly. It's the first thing.
Right. If you're creating those cues for yourself that allow you a launching point, then that becomes really critical to help you, right? But yeah, I think there's a place for that. And I think there's a number of ways to do it. And again, it could just be as much as describe where you learned that, as you're going. Well, all right, you pull out your sword for the first time that we see in the fiction. Is this sword special? Where did you get it?
Right.
Like, remind us how
and
that
just
happens.
take the moment to do it rather than doing it ahead of time.
Right.
You guys had made these characters and, we sort of rolled them up. But I wonder if this wasn't a short session and you were really thinking about, okay, this is the character I want to, pour my sweat and tears into, and you do all this background, you do all this work, like I tend to do with my characters. And granted, my DM might say, oh, roll up 2 other characters. I'm like, okay, these are some sort of NPC or, henchmen or whatever. They'll be the side, and then, you introduce me into a setting like this and then immediately kill me off.
Right.
Which is...
Well, mine were 3 brothers, my 3 characters. I was like, I had a backstory for their interrelationships, the whole night.
Yeah.
I'm really going, no, we're the same person.
Yeah.
They were triplets.
Yeah, they were actually sort of...
And chimeric. And then, ultimately they might end up being the same character. But I was okay with that. But
I mean, I wouldn't have... Because these characters are made really quickly. I probably wouldn't have been quite so tropey if I was like, I'm going to be making this for a campaign. But at the same time, like... if we kept playing with them, usually, or at least try to do, is it's like you get past that sort of point where it's like, I'm an urchin, I'm a dangerous guy who reaches for a shiv. That's at the first thing that comes to mind, but like if you've been doing it for a little while, hopefully you can kind of branch out and find some sort of new thing to bring into the character. Otherwise it becomes just like, I don't know, at least personally after session 10 or something, I kind of get like, all right, that's just his thing, and he just does that. And,
and hopefully you've got a character arc, or and things like that, and had some experiences.
But you can just fill it in, All
right, brace yourselves, because I'm going to be complimentary of D&D.
Wow.
One of the things that are good about where you start in Dungeons and Dragons is that you begin with a hero narrative from the beginning. Why were you a fighter? Why are you a druid? What was the story in you learning your magic as a sorcerer? Did it come upon you like a superhero, right? I think that's important. I'll tell you why. And I love Dungeon Crawl Classics. I think it's really fun and interesting and like evocative, and the chaos and the magic and all the stuff that it does. But there's only so far you can go when your main character started as a turnip farmer. And that's literally a thing you can do in Dungeon Crawl Classic. So you're like, you really have to dig deep and find out why this character decides to choose warrior as their class, or anything beyond turnip farmer. One of my characters, the character who got the furthest, was a turnip farmer who had a goat. Am I a ranger? What?
It's kind of what my story with the background of officer, of a military background, especially if you start off at level 1. Actually, my Goliath that I played was an officer, but started off at level 1. How did you become a military officer? But you've never had any experience.
Right. Well, you're just a noble. Remember, you could get commissioned just because you're part of a noble family.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I really had to take some turns to explain.
You did,
I hadn't actually been successful in combat.
You're such a shitty officer. you were a guy who led from behind, right?
I feel that discrepancy between like the backstory that people a lot of times want to play and sort of where you start in D&D is, it can be a feature, but sometimes it's not, like where it's kind of more detriment, where it's very like kind of in the assumptions or the culture or something where it's like, you don't want to start out a character who's like actually fairly well along in their career, but you might want to play that character, so it's like you'll create this background where it's like, and he was a wizard for 15 years, and, and then it's like, and then he can cast magic missiles. It's like, what's the story behind that?
I mean, for first level characters, I think age you can do, but you do have to go he was a shopkeep, you know what I mean?
Right.
That's why I think backgrounds are really awesome in Dungeons & Dragons.
But this is also why I'm oftentimes will start a game at 3rd, 5th, or 8th even level.
Your background is not a wizard. Your background is a scholar. I think about the same thing with elves too, because they come in and they automatically get proficiency in long swords and longbows. It's like, because they're 250 years old. What have they been doing for 250 years? Well, they're still level 1. You know what I mean? Like, they're just preparing. They're just preparing for this moment.
Yeah, we did that kind of thing. If you remember, it was actually part of the game. Is Heartsuit. Remember, we started just waking up, going, what the fuck is going on?
Had no idea what was going on, no idea what the world was or anything.
But I've done this trope either tabula rasa or just flashbacks for D&D for ages. I think it works really well.
Yeah, it works. I mean, it works better than I think it would. Like where every time I've done it, this really works, but it just seems some kind of like counterintuitive in a way that you're starting out playing a character, but the character doesn't know who they are.
I want to, just as an example, I was using a Beyond for this, right? So I'm not a big Beyond user, and I was, pretty impressed with like how it does things. But I want to point out that in character creation, what happens is you have a number of choices, and it tells you where those choices are. Right. So here's an opportunity to be like, okay, I want to play a barbarian. Right? And maybe the GM says, pick 3 of your options to start with. What your weapon is, if you want, or one of your, blah, 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 blah. What are your skills? But then the other things...
3 of your abilities, but not the other 3.
But 3 of your abilities and not the other 3. Yeah. And then the idea there would be that you could actually go into Beyond as you're playing, and those opportunities of flashbacks you fill something in.
Right, when you want to use that thing.
And I like that because then it gives you context to that ability.
I've only done that with essentially one-shots and mainly with younger players, but when I don't want to spend 2 hours making a
Convention games.
So it's like, you probably have done this a lot, where it's like, here's a blank character sheet, put your name, your class, your species, and let's just get going. And then
I've had
as
to
these
really get
things
used to
come
that,
up,
'cause it's so counter
you'll write
how
down,
I've
like,
always played. I've gotten more used to it, but it's safe. It's so
I'll actually usually do that with Burning Wheel, like introduction Burning Wheel games, because Burning Wheel, you don't need the life path system. And if I'm just trying to teach people how to play Burning Wheel, then usually I'll be like, you get X number of skills at X level.
Yeah,
You know?
I love that process. That was
No. I'm just saying, if I'm trying to teach them the dice and fate, right, and beliefs, those are things that are way more important. You know, because I've also done sessions be like, we're just going to make a Burning Wheel character,
Right.
you know, but that was always very useful in teaching somebody a system, because then you're not spending the time to do character creation.
let's move into what we're here to talk about. And that's death.
Right. So what brought you to the table? Like what made, this was your brainchild, which I love. What were you really engaged with here?
This worked out really well, and really a lot of it's happenstance. But once I saw it, I was like, "Oh man, this is gonna work out perfectly." So one, we had talked about let's do a session where we talk about death in the gaming systems, and I actually just thought you were gonna run something, for us, Scott, like that. It was had sort of a death scenario. But I said, well, let me, maybe think about this from a D&D perspective, and I already said that I think it's difficult to kill people, so I don't know how that's going to turn out. I had this Planescape module in the books, and I always wanted, but I didn't really get into the details. And then I open up, I'm like, I wonder if there's something in here that I can utilize. And chapter 1 is you start off in the mortuary, in the morgue.
It was all about that. Wonderful.
And the first NPC you run into is named Morte. So I was like, oh man, this is thematically this could be better. But then also to realize that mortuary first chapter was intended to be a grinder for the characters where you could end up dying. But again, I was still skeptical, and to some extent maybe didn't well, I guess I did succeed and all the characters died, but I
only because I played a reborn. Like, it was really, that was the only saving grace, it was that
you have advantage on your death saves.
I have advantage on my death saves, and doing those 3 death saves was pretty hard.
Which made that actually particularly challenging, but
you still bought it.
But then one hit point with no way to heal. I was like, good Lord, what am I going to do now? You know what I mean? It was really fun. I mean, I thought that was really interesting.
Maybe could have taken a short rest at some, like in
but you said that was an hour, right?
That's going to be an hour.
Yeah. And I was really worried about the big guy who was going to come after me.
Yeah. Or finding a safe spot. But yeah. So, again, the fact that, Morte was the NPC that you ran into, and just sort of that death theme, I thought was really good. And here's what I did that was outside of my comfort zone. Like I said at the start, like, I'm not rolling behind the shield, let the dice fall where they may. I think in D&D games that I play, I tend to tread very lightly, just in terms of using, rules as written and things like that. Like,
could you also say that you often play with kids?
Well, not just that. I mean, I play with
some people get really hurt.
Players or characters
like, it's a really
that are intended to be heroes, and I'm not actually trying to make somebody leave the table in tears.
Right.
You're laughing because I'm sure.
But no, this is like one of the few times where I feel like realized I've made a big actual misread the room thing is when I killed characters like in the first session we played. Their sort of faces dropped and we're just like, what the heck? It's just, it was a save or die situation, and it's like what?
And even what you were faced off against had, because I wanted to go through the death saves and see where we ended up with, anywhere from 3 to 6 rounds of you guys having to roll death saves, which we're able to do.
Right, yeah.
But I did have to softball a little bit. Like I gave that, that surprise round where really this creature, once you got to 0 hit points, was supposed to
pop you out.
Right.
Right. So,
although if they're already I think that actually worked really well. And I think narratively what you did was actually more terrifying.
Yeah.
I think the idea of me just lying there and just incapacitated, trying to crawl away, right? And then, horror trope, right?
It did turn into a horror.
They came back and just run, right? Here's this big, very pretty competent hero who's just fucking bolting.
Yeah.
I think that was really effective. And I did contemplate on that as how does he feel about this process afterwards? And as he basically regresses back to his sort of rogue days, instead of the monk hero.
Was that why went into hiding?
Yeah, that's how he kind of went into hiding.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah. No, but I think that was effective. I don't think it was super softballing yet. You only gave me basically 1 round. Yeah. And I think technically I still would have been able to get away. I mean, I have such high movement plus a disengaged dashes. I was like, all right, I can get out of here.
That's usually where I try to pull back on things being too hard to let the characters. The story is a lot more interesting if you're able to survive through that and have that than if we just die one round. Okay, done. Right. Yeah, exactly. It's being able, so I do it's not so much trying to save the characters, all the time or anything like that, because that is interesting. But there are definitely situations where it's if I just did rules as written exactly, it's not going to be as satisfying. That's usually where I kind of try to make that decision,
See, I think,
but it's still, but it's a very soft thing. It's do they get an extra round? I don't mean ignoring a save or whatever. But
you say you often make a big deal, and that's not reductive at all. You often say you make a big deal about all right, we're gonna roll, but out in the open. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't do it any other way. I would not. I mean, there was probably a point in time in my career that I would do it behind because I was more of a cult of personality GM and I wanted to steer the narrative because I thought it was more interesting.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we rolled a 20 at one point, which totally did.
Right. Yeah. That's just created the character.
Totally. I don't know. I mean, it's innumerable times where I might have rolled a 20 behind the shield, knowing that was going to be
and not have done it,
and been he hits, and then just do regular damage rather than.
I think that one way, and you could use inspiration to do this. I think one way, for instance, Burning Wheel and a couple other games do spend this thing
to resist
to not die, but with complication.
Yeah, I love that sort of thing.
It complicates your life. So I had a character in my Burning Wheel campaign who failed at their fort save on a spell, traumatically doing a mortal wound. Right? So you can imagine the magical energy burning them alive from the inside out, spent Arda that allowed them to survive, but now their master, who was dead in the background of the fiction, possessed them. Right? So now they're walking around as this possessed person, and how do you navigate?
Yeah, that's a good example of how conditions can be really useful. I mean, I love being able to use conditions to be able to create that other element. You have damage in a lot of systems where it's just damage. But if you have a condition, you can create a sort of narrative context around it that does something other than just you have, 1 out of 10 life things.
Right. I mean, we see this in fiction all the time when people get stabbed or whatever the case is, and they wake up in somebody's bed. Oh, they wake up in the enemy's bed. Right. They wake up in some weird witch's. Who is this person? Mm-hmm. They, or I'm not a big fan of you wake up without all your stuff in a prison. This scenario excluded, but that's a great complication when you have an economy, right? Yeah. I would be a little annoyed. Well, in the middle, I think it's okay in the very beginning.
If you start that way,
Did you start way? But in the middle, oh my God, I think that's a campaign death knell. I think so many players really would hate.
You take all their stuff away.
Take all their stuff away, and now I have to go get all my stuff. Like, that's just annoying.
As a temporary thing, I find it interesting because you've gotten used to your character playing with your magical sword, and maybe it's it's a little unfair to wait.
Kind of shake it up a little bit.
Yeah. There's usually like the implicit assumption that you can get that stuff back or do something. It's like a motivation for the next thing. It's not like just like a penalty.
Right. Like, if you escape this, this prison or whatever, you would get to, your stuff is hidden in the treasury kind of thing,
Right.
You end up getting
It's definitely a tread lightly thing, though, because it can throw some people off for sure.
Yeah.
Most people wouldn't use those things.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
I didn't think I would like the death save. I admit this is like the very first time I've ever used 5e.
That's an example of how lethal the 5e is.
Right. This is certainly the first time that I've ever rolled a death save. And I
guess none of you failed death save. I mean, you had an advantage on it anyway, but
right.
Yeah, I did. I rolled surprisingly well on that. Very few other things, but
I do like games with more lethality. I think death saves exist in Dungeons and Dragons because it's a heroic game, and because they don't want just because it's so random. The D20 is really linear. The damage dice, which we all know I loathe. Damage dice can be like nothing or everything, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think they want death to be capricious, but I actually prefer it at this level. Like, I like the tension. There was way more tension in what was going on when our lives are on the line,
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely true. And then, but it's also telling that the player characters are the only ones that have the death saves. I did a little, not really fourth rail break, but it sort of incorporated it into the game. When you come back with 1 hit point, well, that's only available to PCs, not NPCs.
Right.
So like the shock on the Duster's, face of like, wait a minute, how did you come back?
Right.
Because if you were an NPC, you would be 0 points dead.
Right.
So to your point, that's the hero character.
Yeah.
Right. That they have that heroic character.
Got the John Wick armor,
Yeah.
And I was thinking about this. Reese is a little bit of it's about death still. It's not entirely an aside, but most D&D is based around the idea of a party. You have a group. So like the part of the group that dies, like as long as the group goes on, that sort of story goes on. With John Wick, you can't really have that story because he's the protagonist. He's the titular character. If he died in the first scene, then it would become, you could use it narratively somehow, but it's not his story. And if you have a bunch of characters who are all trying to play John Wick, who are all trying to be that thing, it can be
the 2 examples I gave in the setting conversation we had was Game of Thrones and To Live and Die in LA. Mm-hmm. Where the main character, literally the main character of the story, dies in the very beginning, and then the story is told about them through the rest of the narrative.
Right.
So you're learning more about Ned Stark, and Ned Stark.
Yeah, although wouldn't he say he's the protagonist in a sort of same way?
I think he is. In my opinion, I think
I would say John is.
Well, no, I do.
I think they led you to believe that he was the protagonist, and I think the shocking thing about that as a series on TV was the fact that they were willing
spoiler
to.
Alert.
Yeah, spoiler. But not only that, but also having Sean play it. You know what I mean? Like,
sure, who dies in every movie he's in.
I don't think I put that together.
Very early, he dies in almost every film.
Series that's going to go on multiple seasons wouldn't be killed off.
But I will tell you though, like, the importance of Ned Stark, and if you look throughout the books, despite the fact that he dies in the very beginning, he comes through. His character.
Well, that event is certainly a.
Well, no, even it's more than that. Like, if you look, and there's actually been papers written about this, but if you look, the characters, his children, almost every scene they're in, they refer to their father.
Yeah, sure.
And either disappointing or making him happy, or I'm doing this because I'm a Stark, that kind of.
I mean, I'd see that as that being still about their story, but he's,
well, his virtue, right?
If it weren't such a thread, if it weren't such a consistent thing, and there weren't 5 characters doing that same thing, I would agree with you, But John's success and failure, except for they lose that thread in the last season, quite honestly. But John's success and failure is often reflected upon in his relationship.
They call back to that because remember, Ned takes John to a soldier that is a deserter.
Right.
And he beheads that soldier as leadership. Because again, Ned is supposed to be the virtuous character.
Right.
And it's his virtue that leads to his death. And that's where when his children are faced up against, should I follow my father's footsteps knowing that it's got this bad outcome,
absolutely.
or should I not?
Absolutely.
And honestly, if I'd never read anything about the end of Game of Thrones, I probably wouldn't have been all that upset about it. Certainly not about the way John and Daenerys turned out, because again, he executes her because he has to.
He has to.
And she's kind of continuing the Targaryen,
Yes. Well, that's right there. You're looking at those two stereotypes. You're looking at the Stark and where do they meet?
There's so many things you want to see from but it wasn't that.
But I'm just saying, the same thing with Living in ILLA. You have this main character who's really more like the hero type, and he dies, and then his sort of squirrely sidekick has to carry on.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
But he does so in a reflection.
How would you do that in an RPG, though? That's the thing I'm wondering about.
I mean, right. If it was your character, right? How would I do this? I think one of two ways. Either A, you do that intentionally, right? In terms of, this is now a character, like I told you guys about Annalise, the idea that the game is about the vampire, but through the lens of all of his victims.
Right.
And so you could have someone start out as that, knowing they're going to die. That person starts a new character, but everybody talks about.
Right. It could be springboarded off an event that no one planned,
absolutely. So roll a character, but the character is going to be the child of the character that just died.
Right. And just make sure in the narrative you're including that person, but also I played a character that was literally it was a magic staff. And what I did was I just played a class. I think it was a sorcerer or whatever the case is, but I made sure he had unseen servant and illusion. And the wizard, the sorcerer that was carrying the staff was just the staff's illusion and an unseen servant. And the players didn't know I was playing the staff, And that can easily just be, because it's all fiction.
I totally see you doing that.
Yeah. And it's all just fiction, right? So it's
actually the wizard choose.
You could create a set of mechanics around the idea of okay, Jamie, you're going to play the titular character. You have a choice when you die, right? Like you said, it could be spontaneous. Right. You have a choice when you die to make a new character, or you continue to play Ned, right? Yeah. And then what you're going to do is whenever something happens, first off, you can always help narratively by what did John teach me? What did I give that character?
I feel like if the system doesn't allow for a port, it could be a lot harder.
Hold on one second. Okay. Or it would be very interesting if people did actions that could then do hit points against your memory. For instance, you'd be I stabbed so-and-so. What is Ned Stark's AC? Well, your AC is just a persistent idea of Ned Stark.
It's getting real conceptual.
But my point is that you don't really have to stray too much from the actual rules and just frame it. It's just fiction, right? This is something that I've been thinking about with Daggerheart and a number of different. One of the things I loved about Otherscape is you had characters there who were just fucking elementals. Mm-hmm. I'm just a fucking, I'm a Yori, I'm a ghost.
Yeah.
All right, I'll walk through life as a ghost. It doesn't matter because you're just a collection of tags, right? And in D&D, I think sometimes we get so trapped by the idea of these are meat puppets.
Yeah.
And these meat puppets have things, and those things do stuff.
Well, those things are pointy and they stab fleshy bits. Or your fleshy bits, they get stabbed. You know?
But you don't have to, you can use all of the accoutrement there and not really have it be overbalanced, which I think one of the things that they've been loosening up on with how they do species now and stuff. It's not just about we're going to not make orcs bad guys. It's more than that. It's loosening those narrative frameworks. We talked before about dwarves in past editions not being able to be wizards.
Yeah. Getting away for the monoculture thing.
Right.
And not just, also for reasons of representation and so on, it's important, but also just it locks you into that framework where you have one character who is representative of the entire race. It's or in Star Trek where you show up on a planet and
everybody is that thing.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Unless they're at war.
Right.
Yeah. So I think you could do that. Quite honestly, that feels like a challenge. It feels like, all right, play a campaign where your character's dead through the whole thing. The other trope that I've seen that are fun with characters dying, as we talked about a little bit, is going and rescuing them from the underworld, right? We're playing in a setting that people are literally having a conversation about this being the afterlife, right? Mm-hmm. So why can't we do that?
The other thing I was thinking of is fridging them, right? So it's the revenge trope, right? So you could have the character die, and then the rest of it is the avenging, by Rathgar's hammer.
Right.
I shall avenge thee kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it's just be another.
TPKs are a little weird. Mm-hmm. And one of the reasons they're weird is because there's no one to carry on.
That's what I was getting at.
No one to experience the death. I wanted to be have a moment. We didn't know each other enough to be Ragnar, no, or I'll revenge you, master.
I'm so upset about you dying.
So upset you die.
And the other person on the floor with the same tattoo.
There's not enough gravitas there, but if you have somebody to carry that on, I think cutscenes, again, 0 hit points and all this stuff doesn't have to be about the end. It can just be about complications.
Well, in this campaign setting, this is literally glitch. So as you go on, that continues to happen. So you can put yourself in really lethal situations, and then you come back to a previous character. So it's not your character's gone forever. Eventually, the two of you might show up as character and be like, oh, wait, you're back.
No, that's interesting because I think there's a sort of mentality that would take the fun out of it, but I don't think it does it all. But just the idea of if I realize that my character can die and nothing happens, quote unquote, nothing happens.
If nothing happens, right? Because that's, I think, right now is the status quo for Dungeons & Dragons is you get raised, whatever, right? Or you start a new character, whatever.
I'm glad you brought that up because that's also a factor, right? The fact that there is, resurrection, there is, the ability to bring somebody back from the dead. It's kind of like the video games or the BG3 where it's okay, I'm willing to accept the death of my character because I can bring it back, somebody from the party.
Right. Think about the idea of particularly including something like the Reborn. Think about how cool that could be of one of your players is a necromancer and raises somebody who died and now you're undead. And I really love the idea of let's play with the idea that maybe you're a demon inside. Maybe you're not that person. Maybe
not to do Game of Thrones, but wasn't that a trope with the Lord of Light and resurrecting that night? It kept coming back,
right? Yeah. What's going on? Why are they changed? Right? That could be something that's super cool.
He brought somebody back.
Yeah,
the Hideaway.
Yeah.
The movie is the demon came back with them.
Yeah. Exactly. It's happening in Buffy, But the idea that make a new character. Well, no, make the same character, and then you show up.
Right.
What the fuck? Wait a minute. We watched you die. We buried you. What does this mean?
Yeah.
That's a whole campaign.
It is. If people react to it that way, it's so funny though, because like some groups will react to it like, oh, hey, it's that guy. Let's go off to the next dungeon. Whatever.
Right. I am so going to punish those players.
Right.
I'm so gonna, like, this is so a demon looking out for your demise. This is so like, oh, by the way, one of the bad guys raised him to backstab you later on, Don't do that to me. Trivialize this.
Right.
Pet cemetery. Yeah, you got your dog back.
You got your dog back.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely one of those buy-in things where it's like, if you're playing that sort of game, then it, it's different. But
don't.
So I could definitely see players who going either way with that. Like I always lean into those sort of things. Like so I enjoy that framework.
Yeah.
Before we get away from this too, because we've talked about it before, but with free market, you mentioned just the fact that like somebody resurrect, being able to resurrect it comes blasé. But we experienced when we played free market where we've got the printing, right? Or you've got a
that's in world where it's expected that way, where people don't have that. I don't know. It's different. I feel like. Somehow, I'm trying to figure out how exactly.
Everybody
is. Well, it's
right. So the people you're faced up
Right.
against don't have the same appreciation for death that you would expect because they're not really dying; they're just inconvenienced.
It's an inconvenience. Right.
But that created another dynamic of that's rude that you killed me, not that it's bad that I died.
But in a game of social, like engineering, in a game where you're trying to be popular. Right, being rude could be death. Right, it kind of idea.
Yeah, I just thought it was interesting. It didn't feel like it trivialized it in the way that like kind of having like reincarnation for 25 gold pieces does. So I'm trying to figure out why, and I can't quite put my finger on it.
Again, it's because like if you're playing those games, if you're playing a game like we did. You were worried. You were worried this dude was going to find out that you might have been responsible for
I'm hiding a body, but I'm not hiding a body because I murdered someone.
Right.
It's really rude.
Right. But like you have to put that gravitas behind it. Right. And the problem is it gets trivialized because it's mechanical.
Yeah.
And if you're not putting that gravitas behind the death, then it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
It's interesting. In order for it to feel satisfying, you have to make it feel satisfying.
Right.
Which is kind of funny. You're like, oh no, just a little spin.
I thought way about playing like video games, even like RPGs, where I've done playthroughs where I really try to it's kind of, you still feel sort of straitjacketed in a lot of video games with it, but you try and make these choices based on what the character would do. Puts you in a very different framework where it's sort of like just points and like how many kills do I have on this thing, and like it's just the systems on the systems level as opposed to like trying to experience the fiction
the
through
other
it.
thing is the body's persisting, right? So if your characters had walked back into that room, the gnome's body would still be in there, which you would expect. But when you think about video games, I think about the same thing. The difference between a video game of like you killing the mobs and then the bodies just kind of disappear when you look away and then you come back.
That was actually a funny thing about Assassin's Creed is that the bodies stayed there.
Right.
So like you'd have a pile of I would often like run the guard. I would go up a ladder and then murder them as they came up the ladder, and they would just be in a pile. But you're right, like a lot of times they just disappear or they despawn.
Right. Or somebody else can find the body, like Cyberpunk, you know what I mean? Like they come across the body, oh wait a minute, something's going on, and then alerts everybody, as opposed to just like, everybody's dead. Everybody's gone.
Like, think about games. We were playing Dune Awakenings. We started, and like when you die, a marker shows up. Like you have to go back to where your corpse was to go get your stuff.
A lot of Codename's that way. A lot of survival games are that way.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't mind that, but I wish it was your body. Like, I guess that it's abstracted, but still, it does make it feel like a video game, right? I've always liked like Groundhog Day sort of movies where there is the respawning,
Right.
You know,
and you create the sort of logic of how the respawn
and
works.
I'm going
what was that movie with Tom Cruise?
Oh, I love that movie.
I remember the name of it.
It's called
The Alien Invasion and
Live, Die, Repeat.
Live, Die,
But then
Repeat.
There's two different titles for
Yes, or Live, Die, Repeat.
And then,
That's such a good film. Emily Blunt.
yeah.
Such a good film.
I was surprised by it. I just saw it on a whim at a matinee. And
Yeah. Well, the thing I actually appreciate, because, like, let's face it, like, Tom Cruise is fun to watch, but he kind of plays the same guy. But
every now and then he goes way off. But
right. Less, right? But in this, you actually do see his character progress. Like, the person he is in the beginning is actually very different than the person he's playing at the end.
Yeah,
which
it takes all those in.
really appreciated. Just ask yourself, what would death change? What would death do?
That's all. That loop sort of mentality is a lot of fun to play with, but I was wondering how it was going to work. With two characters, it's one thing. But the more players you add, sort of like when they die and go back to the start point can change, like sort of like, because now I go back to the start point.
Now
I don't know
the
them.
party.
Right, exactly. So like in terms of the party, sometimes I wonder, that's something I've been wrestling with.
And that was just something for the mortuary. I think that you should back up in the morgue room. But once you leave the mortuary, then it kind of gives you sort of broad strokes to be like, okay, we introduce the character where.
Because otherwise it's like,
always come back
if people play on for a while and then someone dies, it's like, well, I'm in this room. I don't know those people exist, so I'm going to go off and do this totally different.
And besides the, the room where you got incinerated, the incinerator room, you can actually escape without going into any other rooms. So if you eventually learn the way out,
I see. If you just took the right turns.
If you just took the right turns, which after, maybe a couple deaths, you would figure out. But you would have to always get through the incinerator room, so you have to coax Maurice every time.
That was the best.
Always fun.
I'm watching you, man. Elder Goblin, Jorgen, actually picks up so that he can play games that are a little more lethal, has a chronicler role that a player has, not a character. And so the idea is it kind of like a crew. You have a party, and then that party has a chronicler, and they keep track of something with the idea that maybe they have a headquarters or whatever the case is. So characters that come in as that crew, and they have the chronicle, maybe missing one or two details, but by and large can get caught out.
We talked about this with troop style play a bit, but that sort of creation of continuity through having that sort of, whatever it is, organization or something that lives on,
Yeah. I loved, and I've actually been using it in a couple things, including my new RPG, is the Cylons getting reprinted in Battlestar Galactica, and that there was a ship, and there was this big thing about they just have to make certain they keep the communication open between the ship and where they died, because if the communication is severed, then they can't get back. They may get reprinted, but then they don't remember. In fact, I think one point in time there was two of them, right? Because that connection got severed, and then the one actually survived. So now you have two versions, which is the plot of Mickey 17, right? Which was really fun.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
it should happen more often in Star Trek as well. But
right. Because you're just making a copy. You're just making a copy, right?
It happened with Riker once. It happened with Picard once.
Well, it ultimately happens, isn't that they find Scotty? Didn't Scotty escape something?
He was stuck in the buffer.
And then they find him, and he's like, "Oh,
hey,
hi guys."
I don't know if he was the second one, but but also along those lines of having to be close to the antenna. And Free Market might have this, but Altered Carbon.
Yes.
So,
sleeves.
I thought that was really good, having the sleeves, and then. What was interesting in the narrative of that is you upload periodically,
right?
And the big crux of that is you get killed, but you don't remember how you got killed.
You don't kill that.
You only remember up until the point that you were last back up and then back up.
Right. And that's a weird thing, because you can be brought. Something what they do is they'll basically murder you and then send your data to a body right? And so you show up in somebody else's body, which happens to the main character a lot, right? But you don't know how many times it's supposedly illegal to do multi-sleeves, but you don't know how many times they're using you to go do shit across the system, or whatever the case is, you know? So there's so many simulacrums, right? How cool would that be? Be like, oh, by the way, you don't know that some mage just made a simulacrum, you know what I mean, of themselves, but, you know, something happened. There's so many cool ways to work with it and just make death more interesting. Now, we've been talking a lot about, like, how do you make D&D death more interesting, just narratively, but there's lots of games now that we see that the lethality level itself is very different from Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. But obviously OSR is trying that direction anyways.
It's a big deal. A lot of those games you're maxing out at like 15 hit points.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean? But also the problem with D&D I think you see, and they're fixing this, is you're also not escalating damage.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, a D10, when you get to a D10 damage, it's a lot for like Ronin and stuff like that, you know. Runehammer Hankrin created a hack of 5e and basically added an injury, just one injury level. It's like a condition is injured, and like what that means. So there's a little bit of a death spiral.
Yeah, let's start to add something. Anyways.
And then the other thing was only one death save. You know, just to make it a little more.
Honestly, I think I would like that.
Yeah.
Because I think that kind of threw me off with this session was, oh man, I still got 3 more rounds. It's a 50-50 chance that you'll succeed eventually.
Right.
And meanwhile, you know, the combatants are like, well, what do we do with this body? You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think maybe the single death save would have turned things around a little bit.
I also experimented for a little while about giving conditions basically with each failed death save. That was fun.
Yeah.
I think there's a rule for that too. I think
Probably,
scars or permanent damage for 2 failed death saves, but still coming back. Probably an alternate rule.
Saga Edition sort of started playing with that idea where we talked about that. You get wounds. I don't want to go into it because this is a whole conversation, but like, you know, it's some sort of death spiral.
Yeah. Was there anything else about death that you want to bring up, or?
Well, I had to check because I just looked in the book because you mentioned coming back as a different character, but there is the reincarnate spell, which for some reason I thought maybe wasn't in.
But that's when you come with a different body, right?
Yeah, it's a 5th level transmutation spell. You provided the creature has been dead no longer than 10 days because resurrection is 100 years.
So I got an 18. What did I turn into?
So you come back as a mountain dwarf. So nothing else changes, just your form. And these are all races. You remember an earlier version?
Yeah, those earlier versions where it got really weird. Like, so second edition.
Reincarnation, like, and I think something like that, the idea would be like, what did you learn, right? That's really what reincarnation is about.
It should be.
Is the wheel.
Usually
right?
it's just kind of like, oh, I'm a leprechaun now.
Or the incarnation is a reflection of your life that you just came from, right? So that should have some bearing on it. Right. Maybe a better idea would be have a set of races or species, more specifically, based off of the alignment that you were at when you died.
Yeah.
You love
how?
it.
Yes. How cool would it be to have a character die, not on purpose, but like, you know, it happens, and then the character's ghost or like an angel, right? Like, shows up to help the characters at some point in time.
Honestly, that's probably what I would
be
normally
really interesting
do for a regular campaign. Right. Is like I would intervene with some literal device.
Like where they have a quest that they get help kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just again, I would feel bad for TPK that I maybe did inadvertently. Well, would have done inadvertently in that situation. Okay, so how do I get them out of this? I either have to have an NPC come rescue them,
right?
Or
I mean, I think it's like
line intervention.
TPKs are like so jarring is because it skews that continuity. Even if one character survives, it's like you know, you can rebuild the party around them, right? But otherwise,
it also happens in the beginning of the the novel stories for Dragonlance, Gold Moon and her boyfriend.
Oh yeah, I remember what his
the
name was.
barbarian.
Yep.
Riverwind.
Riverwind. Yeah.
He gets melted by that.
Black Dragon. I still remember that somehow. Yeah.
I forget if anybody else gets hurt, but he's basically dead. And then, 5 minutes later, Mishakel comes back as a true god, makes Goldmoon a cleric, and by the way, he's just resurrected and back.
Right.
Yeah.
It's the Eagles with Gandalf. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Could have done that at any time.
Okay. Right. Just waiting to see if you could figure it out, but I guess I'll do it.
Cool. So death in RPGs. Let's see more of it.
You have been listening to another episode of the Modern Mythology Podcast. We hope we gave you something new to think about that you can bring to your RPGs, writing, and other character-based games and art forms. Produced by James Kershaw. Soundtrack by Scott Landis and James Kershaw. For more information about this episode, articles, or links to our other related projects, visit modernmythology.net.